What's up? Man, another day, another wacky arrangement of my hair that desperately needs a cut. Howdy. As is often the case when we're starting something with other people exactly at 5, I'm starting stream early so we can talk beforehand. Hello. You scared the shit out of me? I don't know what to do about that. I'm sorry. I don't play music beforehand. I pantomime it. Um, anyway, I have no reason to believe this debate's going to be any more or less spicy than any other one, just because it's so anticipated. Are you worried? Oh, I'm not worried. So who is this person? Oh, we just watched a video of theirs, like, 2 months ago? Or something like that? Like, yeah, like 2 months ago. And it just took forever for us to talk. We'll see. I'm sleepy. We'll see. I did actually talk to him a little bit off stream, and he comes across pretty reasonable. You know, that's not an affirmation of his political positions, more so just that, I don't think we're going to talk to him and he's just going to start like screaming racial slurs. So we'll see how it goes. Do you remember any of the video? I watched some of it earlier today to refresh my memory, Didn't he have a base tweet about Roe v. Wade? I do not know. Maybe. I mean, that'd be good, right? What if you do? Scream racial slurs? Yeah, well, maybe. Um, oh god, I'm so tired. I woke up, I woke up relatively early for me. And I didn't take any Adderall today either, so I'm without it for 2 days. This time it was just because I forgot, and by the time that I remembered, it was too late, otherwise it would fuck with my sleep, so. Um, how's the ear doing? The ear is coming along so well. We are so goddamn close to having a regular ass ear. No metharoni. Yeah. It's a shame. I'm too sleepy to do well in the gaming endeavor that I'm currently undertaking, which is Blue Smelter Demon in a Soul Level 1 Dark Souls 2 run, which I have to say isn't easy. Will the debate start on the hour or excuse me, a little after? Well, probably on the hour. Did I finish the RL1 Elden Ring speedrun? No, I have not. Very close to, but no, I have not. Hey Vosh, the recent clip of you saying cis people never question if they're trans or not gave me an existential crisis, lol. Look, I'm not saying that having like if you errantly think about it, I'm not saying that you have to commit yourself to some kind of like, emotional crisis. But if you're frequently thinking about being like the other gender, like I think that's indicative of something. You know? Yeah, that's indicative of something. You said in the stream we talk about canvassing, right? No, I said in our next real stream, we talk about canvassing. Real stream. Bitcoin price drop like 28%. Others will fall in 50%. Check it out. Yeah, the crypto market is in like free fall, which is pretty funny. Bitcoin has had a slow decline over like a week's time, I guess, from 40,000 to 30,000. What's Ethereum at? Ethereum in the same time period's gone from 3 to 2. Yeah, down like 37%. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It's not good. It's pretty bad. What was that meme? If only several thousand people more had warned me. Whatifalthist fans are calling you a tanky right now, Lamau? Well, compared to them, I might be. Let me see. For a debate bro, he's one of the worst examples out there. He argues in bad faith and is only interested in smearing his opponent. There's a reason why Vosh's approval outside of Smooth Brain Tankies is 0%. This is the thing. This is the thing that I like about people's detractions of me. It's that they never have any shit to say. You know what I mean? Like, it's always like, he's an evil, he only goes for gotchas and dunks, but there's like never an example, ever, you know? I actually feel like my reputation here is very unearned, because I actually think that I can be quite kind to people when I'm talking with them. You know, even if they're like very far right or whatever, like, I usually wait like wait for there to be like an inciting incident in the conversation to go off on someone. And funnily enough, the times that I haven't have almost always been against other leftists, usually because they were beefing with me beforehand. So, you know, love me that shit. Now you're a low-key smug asshole most of the time. I don't deny being smug, but to be fair, a lot of the people who I'm condescending towards kind of deserve it, you know. There are a lot of people out here who make some very confident statements, very little to back it up, you know. I feel like dealing with some smugness on my end is far from the worst thing that can happen. I guess we should do the Zoom call. Oh, I'm so tired. I hope I can I hope I can keep up. Remember to be smug during the call. Hey, what's up? What if alt hist? Is there like a shorter name we can call him by? What if alt hist? What if alt hist? I guess it's only four. Well, it's only 4 syllables, but it feels like more. Whya? What if alt hist? Like the acronym? Yeah. Whist. We can be like that overplayed Stewie joke from Family Guy. Guys, remember how funny it was when they gave him a British voice, and then that was like 3 minutes of several episodes? That was good stuff. All right. Goofy ass ear bandage. It will rue the day. Join Zoom meeting. All right. Zoom is updating. Okay. Hater. Fucking hate Family Guy. I really do hate Family Guy. It's contributed so much to the creative bankruptcy of the Western animation. Oh, hold on. Just in case he's got like his asshole pressed up against the camera. I don't think he does. You know, but you gotta stay on top of the game when you're when you're uh when you're in this profession, when you're in this industry. All right, he'll let me in when he lets me in. This is true, however, I think it's funny sometimes. Well, the problem isn't that Family Guy isn't funny. Sometimes, even in newer episodes, Family Guy has like there will be jokes that are like funny, you know? The issue is that there's absolutely no grace or dignity with which they bridge the good and the bad jokes. You know what I mean? So instead of it feeling like a show that has its ups and its downs, it feels like you're like eating a pile of shit that sometimes has corn kernels in it. You know, it like I feel like there's like the way Family Guy is structured is such that you're supposed to feel bad when you enjoy a joke. Like that's the healthy way to engage with it. Which probably isn't good for a show meant to be entertaining. The Simpsons is just depressing, and I've never been a big fan of South Park. It just doesn't resonate. Like Western adult animated comedy has just never resonated with me that much. Even Rick and Morty has like really kind of like left me behind after the first 2 seasons, I think. Like same in the later seasons of Rick and Morty, there have been funny jokes, a lot of funny jokes. It's generally a pretty well written show, you know. It's just like all of the anarchic like edge that made the first 2 seasons work kind of falls apart when like Rick and Morty are getting like guest appearances on the new Space Jam. You know what I mean? Like when McDonald's is doing their Szechuan sauce like promotional deal and they're in the new Space Jam and like it's like oh god like you can't pretend to be like the Maverick show anymore. You're one of the biggest media franchises now, especially in like the adult animated comedy game. What about Futurama? Futurama is good mostly because it keeps getting canceled. Okay, the I know people are mad that Futurama gets canceled a lot, but do you really want it to turn into The Simpsons? Maybe it's for the best, you know? Like maybe it coming back for like a few seasons, all the good ideas they have saved up getting used and then it falling off the face of the earth again. Maybe that's better than it just being like an infinite zombie like The Simpsons, just living, you know, forever interminably. Um I don't think a lot of people understand how important temperance is when it comes to these shows, you know? Like if you play your hand out too far, you don't just cheapen what comes after, you cheapen what comes before too, you know? It's like Game of Thrones. Nobody talks about Game of Thrones anymore. Nobody cares about Game of Thrones. The only time people bring up Game of Thrones is to say, well, it started good, or to bitch about the ending. Like, the ending of the Game of Thrones show just tanked the whole thing, you know? Um so and I feel like in the same way, you know, when you have these comedy shows go on forever and ever, you leave a sour taste in people's mouths and it makes them less charitable to the jokes that have been done before, you know? And by the way, I really think it's a testament to the quality of the original Simpsons episodes. Say, I don't know, seasons 3 through 10 to be charitable, maybe 3 through 8, you know, just vaguely in that area, you know, not everyone's seen everyone. But I think it's a testament to the quality of those earlier seasons, how funny they are still. Like, Simpsons has been around basically your whole life. It's everywhere. It's played out. It's tired. It's a zombie. It's over. It's done. It's, you know, and then you go back and watch some of the earlier stuff and it's actually still pretty funny and I really think that speaks to how good the original stuff was right there. And that I think, you know, that's important. Kind of unironically sad to watch The Simpsons now. Yeah, it is a little bit, but you know, it's had its heyday. It's not you know, it's not worthless. What about Has Been Hotel? Well, Has Been Hotel has only had one like it's only ever had like a pilot, right? I don't think Has Been Hotel is at risk of playing itself out anytime soon. I feel like it's got a little bit more gas in the tank. Oh, hold on one second. What's up? Oh, thank you. Guess I need to blow my nose. You know, What If Alt's channel is the same size as mine. He's got like 2,000 people waiting on his end of the stream, so it's actually going to be, excuse me, for the first time in a while, it's actually going to be a pretty even contribution of viewership in both directions. Yeah, stream v stream. Being good at adapting isn't the same as being good at writing. Well, you have to be good at writing to be good at adapting. But I agree they're not exactly the same things. It's a specific skill. Did you rewatch the anti-Shidebi video? I rewatched some parts of it. Enough for me to know what my principal arguments will be. Have I seen Smiling Friends? Yeah, I really liked Smiling Friends. I think the thing that I liked the most about Smiling Friends is that it wasn't mean. Like, it was the exact right kind of show where you would expect it to be really mean, but it kind of wasn't, you know? Like, obviously it was incredibly edgy, but the humor of the show doesn't really derive from mocking or humiliating people, you know, which is uncommon. I don't know. Yeah, I liked it. Oh, I've seen BoJack Horseman. Yeah, you seen Super Eye Patch Wolf's video on The Simpsons? I don't know. I don't think so. No, I didn't. I took my meds today. Dying to know your thoughts on Deep Space Nine so far. Well, so far, like I've only seen like the first 8 episodes, and it's very cheesy. I definitely see glimpses of the stuff that I loved from the Next Generation, but it hasn't like fully developed yet. So I'm gonna give it some time. The first season of the Next Generation wasn't like amazing either. It takes time to fit into your role, get all the actors acclimated. Do you like video essays? Well, yeah, I mean, video essays are like half of YouTube. Um, well, not really half YouTube, but half of media and politics YouTube. Y'all asking me a lot of questions here. Um, which FNAF animatronic is your favorite? No, no. Very good. You got any opinions on the Depp v. Herd thing? Herd? Um, no, not really. The only opinion that I have in it is that people are being really fucking weird about it. That's my opinion. I don't think there's anything wrong. Like, obviously, it's a celebrity trial. People are going to weigh in on it, but people are being pretty weird. People are being pretty weird about it. People are being goofy goobers, I think is the proper term. My equivalent to Simpsons old episodes is Calvin and Hobbes. Read it again. If you only did as a kid, it super holds up. Oh, Calvin and Hobbes, and I've reread Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin and Hobbes is like eternally good. It is insane how good Calvin and Hobbes is, and I think in large part that's because it hasn't been cheapened by commercialism. Because the author or the artist didn't like allow it to be abused through adaptation and merchandise and blah blah blah. But the Calvin and Hobbes is incredibly good, like really, 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 really good, so good. It almost defies like comprehension. Honestly, how effectively he was able to consistently capture this, this like a kind of like well-tempered cynicism through the framework of childhood optimism. Bill Watterson, that's right. I've got a bad memory for names, but yeah. He wanted total control of merchandising design, not that he was against marketing. Yeah. I just mean like he didn't let it like he like it wasn't just like he sold it off to Disney and Disney went and made a movie about it or whatever. Ran off with it. Does the Demon Mama bridge status have any update? I haven't interacted with Demon Mama since that argument that I had with her. Watch Eurovision? Absolutely not. I'm an American. Those Calvin pissing stickers are all bootleg too. I don't think Bill would mind those Calvin pissing stickers. I don't think that cheapens Calvin and Hobbes at all. That's just like a goofy, it's just dumb goofy shit. I don't think that meaningfully cheapens the work. Whatifalthist has DM'd me saying that they are having technical difficulties, which is fine. I love talking to you guys. We didn't spend enough time yesterday talking about animation. Maybe talk to Demon Mama in private, check on stuff. Don't get parasocial on me now. She's a grown-ass woman. In fact, I think older than me. She's fine. Watch Arcane. I will watch Arcane. No, I'm not going to watch Halo. Have you seen Revolutionary Girl Utena? I've seen like the first half of it. I never finished it. I dropped off and didn't pick it back up. I really want to though. I enjoyed it, even though it reused a fuck ton of animation. Oh my god, did Revolutionary Girl Utena reuse a fuck ton of animation? It is insane. I actually feel like a lot of people don't know about Revolutionary Girl Utena now, because if they did, there would be way more Twitter bios where the avatar is her face, the pro tag. Like she's underrepresented proportional to what you would expect her to be, like given what she's like. You know what I mean? Have I seen Haikyuu? No, I have not. Have I watched Morbius? No, but I'm on the Morbius train anyway. You mentioned you played Control. Did you finish it? Yeah, I liked it too. I liked it a lot. It's a good, interesting game. Did I see the Northern Ireland election results? No, I have not. Madoka match? Yeah, I've seen Madoka. Thoughts about Disco Elysium? I've only played the first hour of it. So far, it's good. Have I seen Isaacin? That sounds familiar. I don't remember. Is it okay to use mascara as eyeliner? I don't know. Probably not. I'm just going to guess you shouldn't do that. Oh, I think I'm being connected.
Hi. You hear me?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing wonderfully. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. Can't complain. I'm sorry about the delay. There were some technical problems, and I did one debate or I did one kind of Zoom YouTube interface like this before, but there was a glitch in my software, and so we had to figure it out. But I'm sorry I left you all waiting. I know you've been going for a bit of time.
Oh, ain't nothing. We were talking about cartoons the whole time. It was great.
Nice. My yeah, it's it's interesting. I think you could write a couple very interesting books on what cartoons symbolize in society, and like another big YouTuber, JJ McCullough, did a whole list of Canadian monster cartoons, and I thought that was a very funny book.
Yeah, well, any excuse to see, people punching holes through mountains or, shooting lasers out of their eyes. I just like it when it looks flashy. I
Exactly.
I appreciate you hopping on.
Of course.
So I had a couple of questions. I didn't I don't formally structure anything, but I watched your video on social justice and a few videos later after that, and I had a couple of I don't know, questions, concerns that I wanted to talk about with you.
Okay.
So I understand you mostly do historical content, which is not my field of expertise. I can't comment on it that substantively. Um, but I do know that you've gotten some pushback for what you've put in those videos. And looking at your social justice video, I think I might understand a common trend. The main issue being, at least with regards to the social justice video, it feels like you came into that with a fairly strong pre-existing ideological bias, and all the information you had on all the many subjects that you touched on in that video, you pulled them together to narrativize them into a story consistent with your pre-existing beliefs, Like you looked up at the stars and you wanted to see a dinosaur, and it didn't really matter what the stars looked like. You had to find the dinosaur in the constellation, you know what I mean? So there were like a bunch of pieces of info there that I think were contradictory or didn't fit together that well, and it gave me the impression altogether that you were inconsistently reactionary in ways I wanted to talk about.
I disagree. So, as I've studied history, being fair and objective isn't giving 50-50 to both sides. Being fair and objective is looking for the truth and seeing where the truth leads you. And across history, you see periods of fanaticism. And we see a lot of the prerequisites for periods of fanaticism that exist today. And across history, you saw the French Revolution, you saw the religious fanaticism like the Puritans of the 17th century, you saw the Spanish Inquisition. Before that, you saw the flagellants after the Black Death, or guys that would basically whip themselves after the Black Death because they felt guilt, that they felt immense survivor's guilt they were still alive. And before that, you had all sorts of things across the ancient world and peasant rebellions in the Middle Ages as well. And the common thread between all of these is that when times get tough, like they are now, where basically average income has gone down, a lot of people live really hard lives in a lot of ways. And under those conditions, people get radicalized. And I think social justice is that radical movement. And I try to build my work for posterity. And because of that, I cannot stand aside when social justice, I think, is a radical movement, and to give it an objective opinion would be to state thus. And so my argument going into it was that social justice is radical, which I will prove as this debate goes along. But at the same time, I just wanted to make something that posterity would be able to look back upon, where every single era of history, you have the people who would basically say, we need to give both sides argument. And the truth is complicated. And because of that, you see all sorts of no one side can hold the truth because no single worldview is capable of encapsulating it. But like before World War II, you saw people who thought that starting the war was not a good idea. Before World War I, you saw people who thought that war would never happen. And in every era of history, conventional opinion was wrong. And I want to look for when conventional opinion is wrong.
So the term radical doesn't really have a consistent definition, but the way you use it suggests to me that you think it has a negative bent. If you're going to argue that social unrest is often caused by inequality or tumult, then I would agree with that. You could go back to the suffrage movement, the civil rights movement. You could go back to the abolitionist movement or the Revolutionary War. You could go back as far as you wanted. And yeah, generally, when things are a little bit less steady, people too tend to commit harder to more radical ideas. I guess the problem that I have with the framing in your video is that that's a good thing, at least in the context of the movements we're discussing now. I don't care about 50-50 representation for any given talking point, by the way. I only care about what's right, You very specifically designate some types of social justice in your YouTube video as exempt from your criticism. Basically, the civil rights movement and back before then, also environmentalism.
I'd like to cut you off there for a second, please.
Sure.
In your video, you said the civil rights movement and the abolitionist movement were descendants of are the ancestors of social justice, which is not true. Social justice is an entirely different historic chain that you see start in the 40s to the 90s, basically, the post-war period. And that's a long period, but it did take a bit of time to evolve. So
I'd like to challenge you on that.
Sorry?
How? The civil rights movement was in the 60s, of course,
finish.
So that would fit within that time range.
The civil rights period, it was entirely different groups of people. When you look at the logic of the modern social justice movement, it takes ideas that were invented by former Marxists in the post-war period and two broad groups, the Frankfurt School and French philosophers. Mm-hmm. And for example, the idea that gender can be separated from sex, that's an idea that hasn't existed for any other period of history except with Simone de Beauvoir starting in the early 50s. And then that idea was taken up by other philosophers like Judith Butler, like Foucault. And so the idea that gender is separate from sex, again, postmodernist idea from that period, from academia.
This
Please
is what I mean.
Finish.
Wait, hold on. Because I don't want you to just go ahead and say a bunch of wrong things.
Yeah, no, but I'd
first
like to
of all,
get my point
the civil.
Wait. You cannot construct my argument properly unless you hear it.
Well, but so far the construction is faulty. The concrete is cracking. The civil rights movement was informed by Marxist ideas. Marx was around like it absolutely was. The basis of critical theory, the idea that you should analyze. Well, don't get indignant already. It certainly was. Marxist. Social analysis has been influencing philosophers and activists for well over a century, and the conceptualization of gender and sex being, as you say it, uniform until the past 50 years is completely ahistorical. There are entire modern civilizations that have had third genders, clearly not three sexes, three genders, for hundreds of years. That's just simply not true. But even if there were conceptualizations of modern social justice, which are a product of postmodernism exclusively, I wouldn't have an issue with that. You'd have to demonstrate the harm done by those ideas.
Give me a hot second, because I'm going to reply to each of those. So for the first of them, the social justice movement didn't have ties to, sorry, Freudian slip that I'm sure you wanted me to have. The civil rights movement didn't have Marxist ties because that was something that the FBI explicitly looked for. And people really, really tried to attach a Marxist label onto Martin Luther King, but he kept very clear from it. And
he wasn't a Marxist.
Yeah, and much of the movement led by him did not have a lot of Marxist philosophy, because if they found a Marxist attachment to it, then the federal government would have basically federal government and racists in American society at the time would have just used it to pillory the movement. And so it explicitly kept away. And it didn't really come from Marxist roots, because if you look at the liberation movements of that period of history, they came mostly from a liberal background. So full male suffrage, that was something that started in the early 19th century and progressed as male suffrage is tied to the amount of your male population that fought in the military. And so that came through liberals across the 19th century, and it continued into the early 20th century. With the suffragette movement, suffragettes were mostly upper middle class women who, again, came from a liberal mindset. And when you look at liberalism, it's the idea that all people have equal worth, and the equal worth under the law. And liberalism is a philosophy that's in many ways derived from Christianity, and thus under the objective legal eye of God. And that's just not the philosophy for Marxism. If the civil
Okay,
rights
wait, I
movement
have
was
to.
infiltrated by
Wait,
Marxists,
hold on, I have to interject here. I never said the civil rights movement was infiltrated by Marxists. I said that his ideas and the ideas of the civil rights movement were influenced by Marxist philosophy, which they were. Liberal philosophers, liberal political thinkers were influenced by what Marx wrote, because Marx was, well, he wasn't the only person who did this, certainly, but it's been mostly attributed to him, the ideas inherent to critical theory. Now, critical theory these days is taught to liberals and by liberals in a bunch of departments. It's not this, like, communist exclusive thing. They were pilloried as Marxist influenced the civil rights movement. So, regardless of the extent of that influence, that was certainly something attributed to them.
I mean, realistically, everyone is influenced by every other philosopher. And give me a second to get back to some of the earlier points you made. But I mean, I'm influenced by Mark. I'm influenced by Marx. I'm also influenced by Zoroaster, Muhammad, by Foucault, and these ideas all mix together. And I don't see a trajectory from I don't think it's useful to parcel out what percentage of each philosophy. And yes, you could find some Marxist influence in the civil rights movement, but I don't think it's useful. And a point you made in your rebuttal to my video was that the abolitionist movement is part of the same trajectory as modern social justice,
Mhm.
which just has no basis. The abolitionists were built out of the radical Republican agenda, which was a subset of the Republican Party that existed mostly in the upper tier of northern states. And their platforms were, in fact, trying to settle the Western frontier. They were very pro-capitalist,
This
very
is an
pro-business.
obfuscation.
They
So wait,
they
what I
were a
said,
remarkably imperialist
what I
party, but they were
said,
also very
wait.
pro-black.
This is a
And
misinterpretation again. I did not
no,
say these were the same
you literally
movements.
said that in my video.
No, I said that it was a continuation of the same historical trend. Now, obviously, if you say something is the continuation of the same historical trend and then go back 150 years, you will find that, in fact, earlier groups do have some different values. But the underlying trend is the acknowledgement of racial inequality and the desire to address it through civic, cultural, and legal systems to amend these problems both in representation and in economic outcomes. In that respect, that movement, the abolitionist movement, is identical to what we have today in many respects. Obviously, 150 years have passed. Settling the Western frontier isn't a cavalier idea in modern social justice movements. That's what it's all about, really, equality. And you can trace that back to the Enlightenment and further beyond if you really wanted to.
I mean, realistically, the idea of racial equality and using legality to address racial problems, it's in many cultures. You see it in Islam, you
Mhm.
see it in Christian societies in the Middle Ages. And if you can't draw a trajectory through the people themselves, you're not going to find a realistic continuity.
Oh,
What happened
sure.
to those radical
So,
Republicans?
well, the abolitionists that we think
Please let
of,
me finish.
well,
What happened to those radical
W.E.B. Du
Republicans?
Bois or like
They
Frederick
became
Douglass,
middle
and
class people in the upper Midwest and New England.
what
Meanwhile,
does
the
the
people
area
who
have to
led the
do?
civil rights movement, they were predominantly Northeastern intellectuals who voted Democrat in the 1930s, as well as Jews who immigrated to Europe from 1900. I once went through a list of
But
I'm writing a cultural history of
that doesn't have
America. And
anything to
so
do
I'm
with the
looking through the different
ideological.
trajectories of American ethnography.
But that
And
has
one of the things I
nothing to
found is that
do with the
you cannot
ideological
find,
through line.
you do not find, it's a totally different demographic
Wait,
where
we're not
the
talking
radical
about
Republican
demographics.
Party,
Wait. What if
the
all his?
intellectuals that are
We're
the
not
modern social
talking about
justice movement.
You can't say that two like similar ideas are dissimilar because one of them was formulated by like southern groups and the other by people in the Northwest. We're talking about common ideas here, like
Is
racial equality. which does exist in many cultures. I've never said this is exclusive to the West, but the abolitionist thinkers, Frederick Douglass and so on, they wrote texts that were cited by Martin Luther King in the Civil Rights Movement, and Martin Luther King is currently the biggest, figure that's cited when talking about historical civil rights in the modern Black Lives Matter movement. So there is a definite continuous ideological trend from A to B to C, and I feel like the only reason you would deny that fact is because you like what the abolitionists did, but you don't like what BLM activists do today. And you have to explain that disconnect by somehow separating these extremely well-connected movements.
Bro, how many books on American intellectual history have you read? Give me some titles. Give me some book titles to back up what you're saying.
We're going right to that? Wait, you need a citation on Frederick Douglass was cited by civil rights. Wait, you need a citation on Frederick Douglass was cited by civil rights thinkers? If you need a citation on that. I will
reference Battle Cry of Freedom to talk about the policies of the Radical Republican Party by James McPherson. Cynical Theory to look at the development of how
this is pseudo-intellectualism at its height right now. Why not address what I've said?
Movement in between, I'll quote The Rise and Fall of Communism.
If you've read so much, then why not?
Those are three different ideological trajectories.
Why not counter the argument then?
Because Confucian philosophy influenced the Enlightenment Europe, that America as that Europe is a deviation of Chinese philosophy. It's creating a single logical line and then extrapolating.
Okay, we're literally talking about the same goals in the same country. You have the abolitionists who fought for racial equality for black people, to the civil rights movement, which fought for racial equality for black people, to the modern BLM movement, which fights for racial equality for black people, and every single successive group quotes and heavily cites the preceding groups. This isn't like a butterfly flapped its wings in China, therefore that butterfly is responsible for the American Revolutionary War bullshit. This is a very direct line. And for you to respond to that with how many books have you read suggests to me a kind of, insecurity in your ability to refute that fact. Why don't you believe these are part of the same movement? They're clearly fighting for the same thing.
The fact that you bring up no historical examples between the leaders of said movements or show that you've done research on the topic, because no one among historians, I have read nowhere that the modern abolitionist movement is a direct descendant of is a direct ancestor of the modern social justice movement.
I'm not responsible for what you've read.
And I have made my point. I'd like to ask you a question when you're done with yours.
Well, you have to answer mine. How are these
I've answered my question in the best way I can.
You've answered it by saying, I haven't read an answer to that. Like, you've answered my question by saying you don't know how to answer my question. I want a real answer. How are these not the same movement? I've answered your question in
the way I will.
Okay. So then I will follow through on that and say, since these are clearly part of a contiguous social trend in the United States, from A to B to C, it seems odd to me that you would denounce social justice when it happened before, when it happens now, but you would accept it when it happens before. It's a really common trend in conservatives. Well, they'll go like, oh, of course I support the civil rights movement. And then they'll do all the same attacks on the modern BLM movement that conservatives did against the civil rights movement 50 years ago,
I have made my argument. You choose not to accept it. I'd like to ask you a question.
What was the argument? Can you repeat it for me?
No, I've already said it. The fans can go back and watch it.
What? But you didn't respond to it. You just said I haven't read in my books that that's.
To briefly spend 5 seconds on this, I've said these movements are remarkably different demographics. You cannot trace a strong ideological lineage between them.
Wait, what do you mean demographics? This group
spoke to this group, which spoke to this group. Because of that, I think you are drawing a loose connection.
They're different generations. Of course, they're different demographics. They're separated by like 50 years. Wait, do you not think a movement can be a part of the same contiguous intellectual trend if
it is, but you need
the different links in the chain are in different time periods?
Bro, give me an example of a academic school created by radical Republicans in the mid-19th century. Give me an example of that school influencing modern East Coast, the modern leftist movement. Give me a historic lineage without just listing single figures.
Can you find an example of Simone de Beauvoir setting up any personal gender studies classes that teach that gender and sex are different?
Oh yeah, that's easy. So
Simone de Beauvoir, you can?
Simone de Beauvoir had her philosophy influenced by Marx. Simone de Beauvoir then immigrated to America. She was part of the broader postmodernist movement. The postmodernist
part
movement
of the broader postmodernist
was in France
kind
in
of like the abolitionists were part of the broader racial equality movement.
Please, The fact that you're interrupting me means that
You're winning.
you don't want me to finish. The Frankfurt School, meanwhile, immigrated to America. The Frankfurt School people immigrated to northeastern cities, going to schools like Columbia, Harvard, etc. Thus, from the Frankfurt, and they also read a tremendous amount of postmodernists.
Wait, so they attended
and
these
so
schools?
And you can see the postmodernist philosophers descended from you can see the social justice philosophers descended from the postmodernism.
Wait,
where
how?
like Kimberly Crenshaw,
Wait, these are totally different demographics.
were students of Foucault. They were students of Marcuse.
Okay, hold on.
They literally write that. You can see that
wait,
on their Wikipedia
so
page.
wait, earlier you said, wait, please, because you run on a train, you try to make like 30 points.
Lineage
please.
From Marx and from Simone de Beauvoir to the modern left.
You claimed, okay, that the teaching that gender and sex are separate is a product of like Frankfurt School postmodernist influence. So you now need to prove that postmodernists founded the American public school system. They didn't. Well, then how can you say there's any connection whatsoever between postmodernism and the teaching of gender and sex being divergent concepts in modern public education? Those were set up by thinkers in the 19th and 20th centuries influenced by Enlightenment thinking. How could there possibly be any influence from postmodernism?
Ideas influence other ideas. Oxford is founded in the 12th century, but they're not teaching scholasticism anymore. And
what do you mean by that?
When you look at the politics of teachers, they're overwhelmingly left wing. When you look at the politics of universities, overwhelmingly left wing.
You're doing a bunch of points again. What do you mean ideas influence ideas?
I mean, if you want to simplify the whole world into a sentence, sure. But Vouch, there's a question I'd like to ask.
No, wait, what do you mean? Because you said there's no way the abolitionist movement could inform the civil rights movement.
Half an hour talk. We've done 20 minutes on this question.
Well, it's very silly because you essentially admitted to not answering it. You said there's no way the abolitionist movement could have led to the civil rights movement.
Past this.
Because
you're not going to get me to talk on this question anymore.
They're different demographics. And then you said I'd need to show that a Republican abolitionist school set up and then is being cited by West Coast intellectuals today. But then you're like, well, Frankfurt's responsible for all of modern education, teaching gender and sex are separately because like you realize these are incompatible talking points. You can't run away from that. You can't believe both of those things at the same time.
Bro, I answered the question. Like,
you answered it wrong. You were incorrect. All right. Okay. Yeah. Ask me a question. We'll take turns on that.
In the rebuttal to my video, you said that international productivity statistics, the only way you can argue them is since racism, because every single area of the world really has the same productivity. Would you like to back that up, please?
You're going to need to specify more. What did I say exactly?
So you said, for example, I said that people in the third world are paid less than people in the first world because they have lower productivity rates. Thus, according to market standards, you cannot pay them less and have a functioning economy. You said that according to what you have found, that all areas of the world have the same productivity. And so the only way you can use that argument is racism.
Nobody's paid for their productivity.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're absolutely
wages across history, and you can run computer models for this. Wages across history are a combination of scarcity of labor and productivity. So, there's a couple historians like Angus Madison and Peter Turchin who do a really wonderful job of creating computer models to predict wages across history using those metrics.
The problem
they get it right.
You asked me a question. The problem with computer models is that people think the output is objective, when in fact the output is largely determined by the preceding input that humans put in. There have been studies shown indicating that in terms of the actual physical productivity, the actual amount of goods produced by a factory worker in China, Mexico, and America, you're not going to see significant differences in productivity. You will see significant differences in pay. The reason for that, well, it's complicated, but the idea of wages tracking perfectly on their productivity is just not true. In fact, often people in China and Mexico work quite a bit harder than we do in factories that are just as productive as ours, funnily enough. They can make, cars or cheap widgets at, the speeds we can or better. It's, entirely doable. The issue that I have is that oftentimes people will use productivity as a kind of moralistic presupposition by which they like determine the worth and the value of a country. Often the economic output of a country is determined by the wealth of that country. So it's kind of like a cyclical problem, right? There could be two countries, one very wealthy, one very poor, where the poorer country produces far less, not as a product of any actual tendency to work from the people who live there, but rather just because they don't have access to the startup capital. And then they get lower wages for what? Well, not for working less hard, for having the misfortune of being born into a poorer country. That's the issue that I have.
That's the theory you posit would result in the collapse of the modern world economy.
That's such a libertarian answer. I love that. Continue, please.
But the thing is, like, and also, you would not find a single economist who could agree with that, or you could not find more than a handful in extremely radical.
How would it collapse things?
And
Wait,
that's because productivity stats vary massively by nation, and that there's no way else it could be, because you have different amounts, different quality of machinery in different areas. You have people who work differing amount of hours. You have differing supply chains involved.
Do you think workers in China work fewer hours than workers in America?
Hardworking, but the coal doesn't get to where they are. The coal that, let's say they're running a factory, the coal doesn't get there. They're working on poor machines. Their wages get stolen, so they leave work. The Mexicans would be extremely hardworking, but they would have lower productivity. And what you say about countries not getting capital, that's not true. This is the era of the highest capital availability in the history of man.
Do you think Mexico gets the same capital investment as America?
The U.S. has given 4 times the amount of capital to Africa than the Marshall Plan. If you look at countries like Argentina hyperinflates its currency on average every 11 years. This is completely irrelevant to what we're talking about. And because of that, but they keep on getting Western capital since there's so much capital.
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Do you think Mexico has the same capital investment per capita in terms of their industry, like as America?
Sorry, who?
Do you think that America and Mexico have the same amount of startup capital available for people to start and develop businesses within their countries?
That's due to a shit ton of historic factors.
Yeah, but do you agree? Wait.
Why are we paring down?
Oh wait, hold on. I agree. Wait, one thing at a time.
America has different geography. It has a different history. It has a different governing system.
Yes, I agree.
So why
they're
is all
different
of that
countries
down to racism?
I agree. Wait, hold on. Calm down.
You're very.
Oh my God! Please. Please. I'm begging you.
Racism.
Calm.
Please explain.
I wasn't accusing you of being racist right here. I was asking you.
Said that.
Calm.
Go
please,
back into the
quit
video.
being defensive.
Like
Wait, please.
Please. Go ahead and look at it.
Oh my God, please. I'm begging you. I was asking you a question. I was asking you a yes/no question at the beginning before I answer. Please. This isn't a gotcha. I'm not trying to trap you. I'm trying to answer the damn question. No, I don't. I don't gotcha people. They walk directly into walls over and over again. I'm not trying to gotcha anyone, okay? I was asking, like, I just asked you, you acknowledge these countries have different capital available for business development, which, of course, obviously they do. No one would argue that. Yes, it's because of historical factors. I'm not denying that. We're not at the racist part yet, okay? So, the studies that I've seen on relative worker productivity have been pretty consistent. The idea that a Chinese worker...
sources.
I don't have any, but if you'd like me to send them to you later, I'd be happy to pull them up. Okay. I don't have all of them archived right now.
How many economics books have you read? Give me your top 3.
All of them.
Give me your top 3.
I can't. I enjoy all of them equally. So anyway, I hope you understand that behavior like that is very unbecoming in immediate conversation. It just makes it seem like you don't have an argument for the field, so you have to run back to the bleachers. Look, in China, factory or sweatshop workers, okay? From what I've read, and this seems to be pretty consistent, they produce as much or more than factory workers here in America. It's not like factories in China are like underproducing. It's like an industrial powerhouse of the planet, you know. But they still get paid way, way, way less. Now, you said that the world economy would be torn apart by the idea that wages aren't proportional to productivity, which is a very funny and very libertarian thing to say. It's like, if my 101 econ models aren't perfectly predictive of the most complicated system in all of human existence,
you have a better theory of the world?
Then the idea that wages track perfectly onto productivity?
Yeah, do you have an idea? Can you have something you can shove into a computer simulation, wages come out?
Nobody
wages
can.
As they've existed over the last 1,000 years.
Nobody can.
Yes, they can.
Absolutely, they cannot.
There's loads of historians, Peter Turchin, Angus Madison, who have been able to predict wages across history.
You can predict
from the variables of productivity.
Wait, averages?
And wage supply.
Wait, averages? Well, I thought we're talking about productivity. Yeah. So, wouldn't productivity vary between individuals?
The Turchin economic models were able to predict wages across England from looking at the population and the product.
We're not talking about averages. What would that have to do with productivity? Averages.
It's medieval England. Your productivity is attached to how much soil you have, and For example, you can look at stats across the 19th century, look at increases in mechanization and increases in industrial ability, and then
This
from
so
that, and
I'm gonna try
attach
this a third
population
time.
to that and get
What
wages
does
out.
this have to do with productivity? Averages, when you look at averages, you're looking at like total social development, not productivity. If we want to find a model that determines wages based on productivity, you'd have to have a very specific and very fine-tuned algorithm that you could punch a bunch of pre-existing characteristics into and get an individual's wages. Because otherwise, we're not really talking about productivity. We're talking about like available wealth in a society. And that I agree with. On average, you can.
Yeah, and we can get individuals' wages. It's median income versus average income versus gross GDP. And the stuff I'm talking about is talking about average income and median income. What I'm talking about is very little relation to gross national GDP.
Wait, how would you arrive at predicting an individual's income?
It's easy. You look what their productivity is,
How?
basically the amount of capital they produce,
How do you
and
measure that?
it differs from society to society. In agrarian societies, it's farmland and productivity of said farmland. In industrial societies, it is their
In
productivity
ours,
from said
in a
factory.
modern service economy, how would you even begin?
You would, in a modern service economy, you would. So let's say you take Starbucks as a business. You took at the total revenue of said Starbucks. You look at the amount of coffees made per individual. You look at the amount of revenue from the Starbucks. You look at how it's cleaned. I know it's imperfect, but
But
once you
that's
get
not true.
averages, all of these things are cleaned up. And technically, Vaush, the train of logic you're operating under basically says science and academia cannot
Wait, but you're
exist.
proving me
And
right.
so,
People the barista gets paid the same amount whether they work a morning shift in a downtown location or the evening shift in a rural location that gets 100th the amount of customers. They get paid the same amount as long as they're in the same state. But
but
if you have
on a
two
macro
people who
scale, it
produce the same
alternates over time according to broader productivity
macro,
variables
I
that
thought we were
watch.
looking at individuals. Macro,
you,
then
you
we're not
divide
looking.
up global productivity stats and then put it on individuals. Like, I'm not going to educate you for an hour and a half
No,
about this.
this is the
Let's
no,
move
this is
on to something
exactly
else.
the
We've been talking about this
problem.
for 20
There's
minutes.
no way to determine productivity empirically when looking at individual statistics because all
There,
you can defer to is broader economic
bro,
trends.
I'll send you all this stuff on Twitter after. I'm not going to waste the audience's time for an hour talking about
Feel
this.
free to. So the
Okay.
point that I was the
I'd like
point
to move on to another question.
oh, I didn't even get to why it was racist. But yeah, okay.
Okay. In my video, okay, since communism has since communism has failed on every single continent
Has
in
it?
every single civilization,
Has it?
um, and why do you consider yourself an anarcho-syndicalist and basing your theories upon a theory of the world that doesn't seem to have matched up to scientific standards?
What scientific standards have my personal beliefs not matched up to?
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I'm not you, Vaush. I don't know your life, but
I mean, I'm
why
an
would
an
you push this view upon the world?
well, for a number of reasons. Obviously,
I mean, sorry to
anarcho-syndic
cut you off, but I have a final question. How would an
sure.
anarchist state manage a war with an external power or manage a financial crash? Actually, no. How would an anarchist state manage a war with an external foreign power?
Uh
Let's say your anarchist France and Germany invades. How do you get a military together and negotiate a foreign
I
policy?
don't think anarchism can survive outside of a global model. I don't advocate for it unless you're in some kind of
And why would a global
hypothetical
model
idyllic.
exist?
Well, if the world was ready to move to anarchism, I
And
consider
why
this
would
a
the world move
highly
towards this
idyllic
progression?
because I think that anarchism is the logical end state of a series of pre-existing social, economic, and political factors, which I do think are desirable in and of themselves. And then ideally, after those have sort of fermented across the world, you would have an opportunity for global anarchism. But I consider that a very distant, like that's very much like a, rapture moment, ye off in the distance. Until then, I care mostly about the advocacy of anarchist principles, if the
Okay.
society is a bit out of reach for now.
So, what would examples of anarchist policies you push be?
Um, policies of it. Oh, okay, a little bit of a
Yeah.
contradiction there, but I get what you mean. Of course, you work
So
within the
how would
systems.
okay?
No, no,
Let me go ahead.
policies in line with anarchist political beliefs.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
You as Vaush, as an individual, what are policies that you think will lead us towards said anarchist utopia?
Oh, well, that's you're putting a big weight on my shoulders here.
I mean, you're a
Um,
political thinker; it's your job.
Well, yeah, though legislating anarchism is definitely a tall order. But so a couple of things. Obviously, I think taxes should be higher. I think the fruits of those taxation, should be put towards a welfare state. I think that severe regulatory penalties can be placed on the financial markets and higher specific taxes on the wealthy, on capital gains.
Okay.
And I think a sort of financial easing into market socialism would be something that I find ideal. With the idea being you eliminate the bourgeois as a class, you ensure that industry is controlled collectively by the proletariat. Nationalize a few industries. I can think of a few that could do for a little bit of a takeover, that kind of stuff. And
Such
it'd
as
be very complicated long term. Such as.
what industries would you like to nationalize?
The pharmaceutical industry is a big one. I think you can make a really strong argument.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I think government should control health.
Um, and also a massive takeover of local transit.
I agree with that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Actually,
Train
I agree with
build.
it in some states, not others, because you see varying different attitudes towards government takeovers depending on the society. Where in like Sweden or South Korea, it goes very well, but in Italy or in Brazil, it goes terribly. So I'm from Philadelphia. Whatever the government controls is just it doesn't work. But in Minnesota or Massachusetts, I'd support it.
I'll make the trains run on time. I'm well and train pilled. The energy industry will get that one. Stuff
Isn't
like
that
that.
like one of the isn't one like r slash neoliberal obsessed with trains?
Yeah, but we don't accept them. The lefties are more obsessed with trains. We like it more.
Hmm.
Trains are good. I like trains. An end to car dependency would be an ideal. My housing. My basic goal would be nationalize industries that have inelastic demand and worker control for everything else, and unions for workers within government enterprises, which of course cannot be controlled by the workers because they're
Yeah.
ostensibly controlled by the people.
I don't think unions are controlled by the people. In Philadelphia, the union controls the city, and it literally like beats up its opponents, and it's led the city to have a smaller population today than it did in 1950.
No, I mean
You
the
cannot
government's
trust any
controlled by
single
the
social
people.
group, and I think that's a problem with leftists, where leftists will say we need to concentrate power in good people, but once you say we're going to concentrate power in good people, bad people start showing up because they get the label good
No, I mean
people.
the government's controlled by the people. The unions only ever
Is
controlled
the
by the
government
workers.
controlled by the people?
I said ostensibly.
Give me a country where I mean, you could say America, but like, how do you factor that in with with the vast majority of governments across history being autocracies run by a kind of ruling class, like a nobility, like a secret police, like a priest class? And how do you do that with every single leftist country, with the exception of countries like Sweden per se,
what
are
leftist
controlled?
countries?
Almost every leftist country does end up autocratic.
Like
So
which?
why would giving the government more power mean it maintains being in the hands of the people?
Like what am I being compared here?
You're being compared to every single. Tell me what you are. Tell me what country you'd like to copy
Well, I'm a
across
social.
time.
I don't want to copy any countries. I'm not even a statist.
If
But I
you're
don't
not
think there are
copying
any.
countries, then you're shooting in the dark.
No, because we see policies that we know might work, and we can isolate them and take a
How do
look
we
at
know
them
they
in
might work?
application. Because
Let me tell you a story.
we wait. Because you can take a look at isolated policies where they
Okay.
function in a given city or in a given state or in a given district, and you can try to determine the effect they'll have in a broader. And if we end up being a bit experimental, so are the founding fathers. Okay,
Yeah.
the apple has not fallen far from the cherry tree.
Which is something I've seen across history where every single state that tries to deviate from a norm of what the pre-established principle is fails. French Revolution killed millions of people.
What
Russian
about
Revolution
us?
killed millions of people. Chinese Revolution killed millions of people. Taiping Rebellion, which is a Christian fanatical sect in China, third bloodiest war in history. Every single time you try to make a revolution, make a new utopia fails. And
What about
revolutions that
us?
succeed are those that work upon pre-existing systems like the Glorious Revolution in the UK, the American Revolution, Europe, and others. And I'm glad we agree on that.
Wait, all these revolutions were predicated, at least in some respect, off of the society they were built upon. Um,
So is everything.
Right. I don't think the French Revolution was any more a rejection of the previous principles of its nation
Yes, it
than the
was.
American
It,
was for the
it was
colonies that it
totally
came
was,
from.
bro. Like they
So
in the
so
French
was
Revolution.
so
Let me
was
finish. The
America.
French Revolution outlawed religion. It killed hundreds of thousands of people. It created total suffrage. It renamed the names of the weak. It killed 5% of the population or the nobility. It took the entire economy into the state's hands in the Revolutionary War. The US Revolution basically just said, you can keep your colonial legislatures, but we're getting rid of England
But
and we're going to make a really weak
all the
centralized
things the
government.
French Revolution did were based on Enlightenment principles, which was the ideological history
So is
of
the
that
American
nation.
Revolution.
I agree. That's my point. Yeah, I think that these revolutions are just difficult business, and sometimes they succeed and sometimes they don't.
But
But
if
I'm not
every
talking
revolution
about
that tries to
revolution.
break
I've
from
never
precedent
mentioned
fails,
revolution for my
if you can trace
system.
that back to ancient history, why would you go with that precedent? Why wouldn't you follow the precedents that work?
Neither did. Do you think that they were following a
The
precedent
American
when they
Revolution
became...
followed
Wait, wait, wait,
precedents that
please!
worked.
You think they were following
Please.
a precedent when America, like, became a democracy? Like, of course not.
Yeah.
Obviously not.
England
Um,
was a democracy beforehand. All of the local governments kept their power in America. They It was a parliamentary system. They had two separate parties, the Whigs and the Tories. They would alternate power. You had prime ministers, all that stuff. Also,
okay,
got to tell you, I need to run at 9.
I understand. Um, oh, sorry, I muted myself. My bad. I understand. It was a monarchy.
But
How
it's like Britain today, but to a lesser degree. It was a monarchy with a republic, with a
the,
monarchy with it was a monarchy with a democracy as well.
it
The
was a,
Americans just couldn't vote in said democracy because the Americans were treated under the British system like they were a subject nation that Britain conquered, like India. But at the same time, the Americans said that they were Englishmen and thus deserved to get voting rights.
they were it was not a democracy. It was a parliamentary monarchy, but
Bro, are we
at
gonna
the
like say the only democracies in the world are New England town
the
halls
most
where everyone
powerful
can vote?
person in England was there by blood. In America, the most powerful person, Washington, was elected, admittedly by white landlords. So
That's
not
not true.
a
70% of them. Oh, yeah, landowners is accurate for the
yeah
South, but in the
land.
North, almost everyone could vote. Um, yeah, but I mean, by that logic, Britain is not a democracy today.
No, because the Queen doesn't have any power now. The function of the
The most
government is
powerful people in Britain, the people making the most decisions at the time, were prime ministers. Lord North was the guy who Lord North, the prime minister of the Tory party, was the guy that masterminded the American Revolutionary War.
the king had enormous power at the time that we left.
Yeah.
No, this is highly tangential.
Okay.
You said you have to leave in
then,
7 minutes.
it's an integrated system. It's part democracy, part monarchy. Okay.
So let's try to get to the heart of this. Okay, there
They were
was
working from precedent that
experimentation.
existed. They also pulled in the Greeks and the Romans and several Native American states in the New World of
Sure,
the era.
and Marx did as well. Marx's theories were derived almost entirely from Hegelian insights
But
following.
Hegel didn't build a state. Hegel
We're,
was just some nerd in Germany.
we're
Hegel
not.
never built an empire. For
We're,
America, we were building it upon a precedent of pre-existing
we're
states.
not. Wait, I'm not talking about state making. I'm only talking about what.
But Marx made a philosophy that people built states off. The Marxist Bible, basically Das Kapital, is them using a philosopher's view to construct an entire civilization.
Okay.
And whenever that happens, it fails.
Okay, I don't think they really did much with Marx's theories to build the USSR.
They literally had classes in the Soviet Union and China. I have Chinese friends. They studied Marxist texts in school.
And
Like Lenin
they
would
didn't
quote
apply
Marx
them
when he made decisions.
Trust me, I know enough about the Soviet Union to know that it's about as communist as Nazi Germany was. I have no respect for the Soviet
What
Union.
separates the theory of true communism from the Christian kingdom of heaven?
Because you can take a look at what the USSR was doing, and none of it had anything to do with the political. Why do you interrupt?
Real Inquisition.
Everything.
Why can't you say real fascism has been tried by that logic?
Wait, no, hold on. Because when fascists say, I want X to happen, and then you look at Nazi Germany, that happened. When you take a look at what Marx said he wanted to happen, and then look at the USSR, None of it happened. Nothing. Literally nothing. There's no relationship. Again, you can do this No True Scotsman all you want, and I agree, okay? There are always thresholds, fine lines you can draw, but no, I don't own up to any of that. You take a look at Marxist theory, and then you take a look at the USSR, no relationship at all.
Let me break this down. Communism has been tried in many, many different forms.
No, it hasn't.
It's been tried with Bolivarian communism in South America.
No,
it's been tried under Castro, which was very independent from the Soviet
Union.
You know,
for a person who claims to be an intellectual, you sure do like going on like bumper sticker tangents.
It's been tried under a Marxist Trotskyite version. There's third world socialism, which took over a majority
wait, I have to ask sincerely.
Socialism in India.
Given we have so little time to talk, Maoism, is there a reason why you're filibustering?
They were reading Marx and then reading this text, treating it as a Bible, and then trying their own thing.
Whatifalthist? I have to ask: are you filibustering because you have 4 minutes left?
Are impossible.
So. What if?
Let me just finish. Let me finish one.
No, wait. We're 4 minutes till you have to go, which you announced 3 minutes ago, and you're filibustering with something that has nothing to do with anything I've talked about. This has been your response to every point you don't have an answer to. You run off to the next thing, or you say indignantly. You sound indignantly like, "Well, I've already answered that by not answering it." You're not engaging with the thing that I'm saying.
This is all stuff you've done in your past debates, bro.
Past debates? Come on. You can't be mad about how this one is going. So pretend that you have some kind of history of my behavior to call upon. We talked privately before this convo. You were fine and civil. Now you're here filibustering. What's changed? Nothing but your nerves.
What's changed is the precedent you set that I followed.
Your nerves. Whatifalthist?
Okay.
So you have to leave in 3 minutes? Should we talk now about which countries you think are communist, or is there some underlying position you would like to arrive at? What's wrong with social justice?
It doesn't work.
How not?
It worked.
It worked before. Worked during the abolitionist days, suffragist days, civil rights movement, second wave feminist
social justice movement.
In a manner which you're not able to describe, define, or delineate.
I describe it as a philosophy based off the combination of the Frankfurt and the postmodernist school.
What's wrong with postmodernism?
That is built upon the theory that power is the ultimate relationship of power is the ultimate relationship inside human societies, and the purpose of a society is to fight against said oppression, and that we should structure our civilization around combating the oppression that comes.
Do you like fighting oppression?
And built upon the theory that there are no social relationships outside power.
Don't you think that we should fight oppression? And also, they don't claim there are no social relations outside power.
I think we should be critical and intelligent about it, rather than just trying to slide everyone into a black or white worldview based on whether or not they fight oppression.
Hold on. You think postmodernism, the philosophy around believing there's no objective truth or narrative, slides people into black or white sides? Isn't that mutually contradictory?
That's obvious to anyone who's looking at this critically.
Wait, so it's an ideology which rejects empirical truth and encourages a multifaceted approach towards social analysis.
There's balance.
But also, you think
the people who would say, look, the way people often work is that they put on a facade and they're really the opposite. And social justice did that.
They got me with that one.
It put on a facade of what its dominant. They put on a facade, and then through that facade, it basically allowed itself to do the exact opposite.
They've duped
because they thought they were rid of it, and that's the case with all humans. We all need to achieve balance, and so when we say one thing too loudly, we're probably going to end up doing the other. I need to get going, but do you have any last statements, man?
So they do one thing, but then the other, and their ideology says one thing, but they act the other way because source trust me, and because they're two-faced.
Yeah.
So your response to the
answer, so I can't give you a good answer.
The theory of postmodernism is that they're lying.
You would need to break that down, but I don't have time, so take care.
All right. Have a good one.
Day. Bye.
Holy shit, that was so much more insufferable than I thought it was going to be. Oh my god. I can't believe. Oh my fucking god. That conversation was incomplete. That dude has nothing to do right now, by the way. 0% chance that guy has this appointment that he has, which he informed me of 9 minutes ago, that on the hour he has something to do. No shot. Yeah. Fuck. God damn. I can't believe he was like, there's no way that the abolitionist movement, the civil rights movement, and BLM can be part of the same ideological tradition, because you can't prove that abolitionist-era Southern Republicans who are pro-Western expansion set up schools that informed modern teachers. Like, what? What? Um, do you want to finalize how he's racist? I mean, we didn't really get to it, but we're not gonna like really have a convo with somebody like that anyway, and like get to anything. The basic gist of it is that people like him will justify American economic supremacy by arguing that poorer countries are less productive, and they'll define productivity as how much wealth they produce, which is obviously cyclical. You know what I mean? Like a widget produced in the US will cost more because it's in the US than something produced from a sweatshop in China. So it's like this value. Yeah, you beg the question essentially. So the way you fight against that is by like indicating when you mean productivity, you don't actually mean like a reflection of how hard people work or what they actually produce. What you mean is like how much they're paid for what they produce, which in effect means these people deserve to be poor because they're paid less for the things that they make, which is circular, you know? I don't think the argument for equal labor productivity across country works. You can look at concrete goods per labor hour, per example. Soaked on Left, I've looked at that data before. Soaked on Left, I love you, but you have this thing where you'll come in after I talk with a retard and you'll be like, I can't help but notice that during this conversation with like a bonobo ape, you didn't fully elaborate. You can take a look at like the amount of shit produced by like a sweatshop worker, you know, relative to like an American factory. And the idea that like wages line up with how much they produce is just not true. Now, you can say they line up if you frame it through how much they're paid for what they produce. What's the value of what they produce? But at that point, again, it's circular reasoning. You're not looking at productivity in like a meaningful sense. And then, by the way, you can tell that he wasn't prepared to answer that because he then went on to say stuff that was just wrong. Remember when he said that you could predict the wage of a Starbucks barista by how many coffees they make per hour? Really? I wasn't aware they were paid on commission. That's new information to me. You know, the only thing that meaningfully determines the wages of a Starbucks barista are seniority and the minimum wage of the state that you're in. Funnily enough, neither of these things have anything to do with productivity. Nothing whatsoever. You know what I mean? So anyway, the racist thing here is that like I don't think it makes you racist to make those arguments, but I do think that people arrive at racist conclusions by framing productivity in that way when looking at like the wealth produced by all these different countries, you know? I'm a poli-sci student. He literally didn't understand 101 shit. Well, I think it was pretty telling when like I laid out my argument for like 2 minutes about the ideological, like you can't get much closer than abolitionism, civil rights, BLM. Like abolitionists fighting for the racial equality of black people and to amend legal discrimination, the big thinkers of which were cited in the civil rights movement, and then the same over to BLM. And then I went through all that, and his response after a pause was um was basically like, "How many books on this have you read?" Which the moment you hear that, you know they're flailing, right? You know, it's been a while since I've had a convo like that. Fuck, I wanted to have like a more productive conversation with him, but what am I supposed to do? You did very well given the circumstances. Well, if nothing else, I feel like that was pretty anticlimactic after all the hype. That's what you get for having hype, okay? Um I feel like if nothing else, that kind of reaffirms the argument that I made at the beginning, which is that he narrativizes like crazy. Like he has all these disparate pieces of information like together in his head, and like he wants to see the outcome that he wants to see. So if he wants to believe that modern social justice has nothing to do with the civil rights movement, like he will do anything to drive a wedge between those two points in history. I thought you're being way too aggressive out the gate with the narrativism thing. No, I don't think so. I think I was just being clear with the criticism that I had, you know? I don't think that I was rude. It was mostly just crazy to me how much that guy Gish gallops like a motherfucker, man. Holy shit. All his points are easy enough to address the right academic rigor. The problem is Vosh doesn't have enough reading in the necessary academic topics, especially economics and history. No, I disagree. I actually think that I knew everything that I needed there. I don't think he actually caught me missing any point on any of that. I don't think he knows anything about economics or history. I think he just has tidbits of information that he's acquired because they fit into, like, they help him justify the political positions that he has. But I don't think, like, in terms of historical analysis, like, guys, when he said there's no way the abolitionist movement could have influenced modern day social justice unless you can prove that the Republicans of that era founded schools with academic departments dedicated to that ideology, which then like, as soon as he said that, like, and then he said there's no way they can, like, be the same because they're different demographics. I don't even know what that means. Like, these ideas can't be connected in the national, like, ideology because, like, some of them are from Maine and some of them are from Virginia. I don't even know. I feel like you interrupted too much. If I'd known we had that little time, I would have interrupted more. I would have interrupted way more. What's postmodernism? You referenced it a lot. Postmodernism is when you're based and red-pilled. He didn't even clarify that demographics question twice. He didn't answer any of my fucking questions. He didn't. Yeah. He said the French Revolution led to total suffrage, like it was a bad thing, either a misspeak or a bit of a tell. I don't know. I don't think he's anti-suffrage. I just think he's anti-SJW, and he's like the biggest pseudo-intellectual about it. Vosh, China has absolute dogshit productivity, but economics can tackle its points understanding, broken measure. Lowland Dare, no, it doesn't. In terms of the work done by a single person in those factories. No. Wait, hasn't this person been, like, bitching the entire time? Hold on. If you define productivity as, like, the economic value of the output, but that's circular again. Holy shit, you've been complaining the entire time. And you were telling me to watch Arcane? Ooh. Ooh, I don't know, guys. That's a perma. That's a perma. There's no other way around it. Nah, okay, 30 days. I love you. Wait, how do you ban someone again? It's been so long since I've done this. /ban Lowland there 30 days come. There we go. I did it. Mercy. I don't know where you're getting this from, but the entire productivity thing is not correct here. Okay, I'm happy. Read the Eurovision comment at top. Well, they're also European, you know. The comment on his VOD or coping about how you're a well-trained snake. Dude, this happens literally every time. Like, every time I have a debate with somebody, like, they show up and they just they, like, smash their head with a brick, and then I get blamed for it, okay? Yeah. I'm happy to see more info on this or whatever, but, like, the productivity thing, yeah, what do we mean by productivity? Do we mean literally, like, how hard a person works? Oh, hey, Shu. I just had a person who you wouldn't like that much on. If pay based on productivity were true, people would be getting paid more relatively now than they did in the past because we are massively more productive, but we know this is not true even just by looking at minimum wage trends. Yeah, that's completely true. If productivity is what determines wages, then why is it that, like, the wages vary so much based on the minimum wages of a state that you're in America, even if you're doing the same job for the same company across different states, or even within certain cities within different states, if they have different minimum wages there? Like, yeah, it's just completely not true, you know, unless you want to twist the definition. Vosh, Mexico is number 1, US is number 10. Yeah, in terms of hardest work, yeah. So if you want to define productivity as being how many hours you work, America's not number 1. Mexico, Costa Rica, South Korea, Russia, Greece, Chile, Israel, Poland, Czech Republic, and then the United States. Um, data for China isn't included here. I wonder where that would be on the thing, you know. In terms of like hours worked, like there you go, right? Turkey apparently has very low. Okay. Yeah, a lot of no data. Yeah, it's not a perfect, yeah. Um, according to Vosh, abolitionism led to the social justice movement. Marxism didn't lead to the Soviet Union. When did I say that? I never said Marxism didn't lead. Actually, I don't think Marxism even led to the Soviet Union. I think Marxism was just the pretext for the Soviet Union, you know? All I said is that the Soviet Union's like actual effective, like the political reality just was not a product of Marxian theory, which is obviously true. If you take a look at that, you know? Yeah, that's what I said. Likewise, yeah, I said, oh God. Do you think it's surprising that he's an alt history channel and that he agenda pushes so hard? No, all history channels tend to, at least they're very vulnerable to this kind of like narrativization. But it didn't necessarily lead to the totalitarianism. I just think that like, keep in mind, like even Nazis, even Adolf Hitler, uh, like used populist pro-worker appeals to establish their authoritarian dictatorship, you know? It just seems to be a pretty popular trend. The alt history community apparently hates this guy. Oh, yeah, no, this guy, yeah. The bad history Reddit also beats him over the head pretty often, which is pretty funny. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Yeah. Oh, Taftaj is here. Vosh, productivity is not hours worked. Taftaj, different people use different definitions of productivity. The problem is if you are productivity doesn't, oh god, he doesn't understand. Wait, Taftaj, I literally opened this by saying if you define productivity by hours worked. There's no consistent definition for productivity in terms of like actual output unless you're framing it through some kind of economic model, like the value of output. But if you're doing that, then you're kind of presupposing, like you're begging the question because you're encoding like wealth differences per country into the results that you're going to get. It's going to be circular. It's not the econ definition, though? Yeah, well, we've rolled through several different definitions of productivity. The only argument that I'm making is that you can't take a look at the productivity of different countries and use that as an argument for, like, why people in those countries deserve lower wages. That was the issue that I had initially. Because libertarians will moralize the fuck. They will moralize the absolute fuck out of, you know, a criteria like that in a way that is just um, excuse me. Ahistorical? I don't know. You want to see some physical productivity? Watch Cockshot's video on unequal exchange. Didn't I feel like I've actually watched this before? Yeah, hold on. This is actually useful, chat. Chat? Taftouch says she would love to talk to you about it. Yeah, sure. That was a pretty short debate, so sure, yeah, Taftouch. Is Taftouch alt-right? Yes, Taftouch is an alt-right trans woman. Hold on.
The question.
I mean, there are some of those, but she's not all right.
We still have the question.
She got banned on Twitch today. Wait, did she? For what? Twitter, Twitch bans Aftaj. Wait, what's the name of the Twitch ban tracker? Is that the name of the? Oh, I don't even remember the name of the thing. Oh, whatever.
Why are wages lower in India? If there's no unequal exchange, why are Indian wages so much lower than US wages? Surely unequal exchange is the only explanation viable for this. No. The cause is the much lower development of the forces of production in Indian capitalism compared to American capitalism. We're going to look at two key industries, ones which you can measure the output in physical quantity terms.
This goddamn audio quality. Oh my god.
Agriculture and steel. And we'll see just by how much Indian capitalism lags behind.
This is 1.5 times speed.
Let's look at agriculture first. Now, although the US has a considerably smaller population than India, about a quarter the size of the Indian population. It produces almost twice as much grain. And it produces 417 million tons of grain, using just under 1 million workers. India, on the other hand, produces 267 million tons of grain, using just over...
Yeah, this is what I talked about with Whatifalthist. Remember when I asked him if he felt Mexico had the same available capital for business reinvestment as America, and he went on a 3-minute rampage because he was afraid that I was calling him racist?
42 million workers. One agricultural worker in India produces on average 6.3 tons of grain. One in America produces 438 tons of grain. So the value created by a year's farm labor.
How is grain defined here? What? I think the numbers here are reliable. Not an agricultural expert.
The US is roughly 70 times what a year's farm labor will create in
69.
the Indian economy. It's a large-scale capitalist industry in both cases. But American capitalism is 6.7 times as productive, and therefore an American...
How do we define USA
steel
here?
Produces 6.7 times as much value. If Indian and US steel are sold on a third market, let's say in Egypt, they'll both sell for the same price. 1 ton of US steel and 1 ton of Indian steel have the same value. The US steel contains about 1/6. Value is not determined by the actual duration an individual worker spends. It's determined by the labor time that's socially necessary. And if too much labor time is spent making things using...
Yeah, I don't disagree with this. Though it is worth pointing out that this simplified description kind of breaks down when you're taking a look at specialized goods that are only made in a given country. So, for example, there are probably literally thousands and thousands of different types of widgets or toys or pieces of technology that are exclusively made in China, or we know, for example, like the microchips or superconductors or whatever are made in Taiwan, you know. And then when you take a look at like the relationship between the production of these things relative to the wages of the people making them, yeah. Semiconductors, yeah, thank you. So it's like, obviously, there's going to be influence based on the relative efficiency of the modes of capital production in a given country versus another. But I think it's pretty clear, like, no matter how you slice it, productivity, like output or like individual contribution, however you want to go by it, is definitely not the sole determiner of wage. You would have to ignore reality to believe that. Does that make sense? Is anyone following what I'm saying? Yes? Okay. We're going Taftaj? Yeah, what did Taftaj want to talk about again? Hold on. Wait, Taftaj says it's a one-day ban, so I can talk soon, but not tonight. Oh, never mind then. You're not on Twitch though? Well, yeah, but she's... I'm not on Twitch, but isn't she saying that she would want to stream on Twitch? Like she would want to monetize their interaction for clout? I can't fault that, guys. It's not like I'm having conversations when I'm off stream. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Why does Taftaj not have a blue name? Because Taftaj made an account like 10 minutes ago. What was I saying? Yeah, anyway. So basically here, can we summarize this in a way that people find interesting? Hold on, let me see if I can. Okay. World map. We're gonna cap this off with a quick little paint stream, okay? You know how we do. Let's get a nice high resolution photo, drawing, whatever, map, you know. Nice. Ooh, that's good. That's a good one right there. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Get the crack pipe? I don't need a crack pipe. Open with Clip Studio Paint. Unsupported file format? What file format is this? Properties. It's a JPG. Fine, I hate doing this. I will screenshot it opened in window viewer. Yeah, I was expecting it to be a WebP as well, but no, not this time. All right, there, we're screenshotting it. Ooh, okay, here you go. All right, listen up, people. All right, today we're going to learn about productivity. All right, are you guys ready for it? So some people will say that productivity differs a bunch all over the world, and that's why some people are wealthy and some people are poor. These people are retarded, all right? People here work hard. You know who works harder? People here. I'm guessing. Life is a lot harder here for the most part than it is over here. I'm kind of generalizing a little bit, okay? People work pretty hard all around, you know? There's a lot of hard work going on all over the place. Woo! Lots of stuff. None of that, you know? So if you wanted to moralize this, the thing is, when we're talking about disparity in income, okay, there are two roads you can go down, okay? Descriptive and prescriptive. Descriptive is an attempt to explain why there are differences in average income between countries, whereas prescriptive is trying to argue what they should be or justify what they are. It's a moral argument. Yes, especially the feds in Antarctica. Exactly, Shu. You know, so you understand the difference, okay? Now, here's the thing. Descriptively, so we're just describing reality here. Why are there differences in total, and then a little dollar sign here in Sudan, you know? Why are there differences in average income between these countries? Well, the answer is really complicated, all right? Really, really complicated. Really complicated. I mean, you've got colonialism. You know, why is this part of the world and this part of the world and this part of the world doing a lot better than most every other part of the world? You know, it's complicated. A lot of stuff like that. If you're talking descriptive, I think there's a lot you can do, a lot you can say. I don't want to focus on that too much. But here's the issue, folks. And this is what gets my goat, okay? The thing that bothers me is when people make descriptive claims, but frame them in a way that makes them have prescriptive outcomes, okay? Now, I bet you see this a lot, and you do, because people do this all the time with black crime in the United States, you know? There are descriptive explanations for why crime rates are different between different racial groups here in the States. But oftentimes what people will do is they'll selectively cite descriptive points to imply the prescriptive. And that's when it's racist. You know, there's nothing racist at all, no matter what conservatives say. There's nothing racist about saying black people commit violent crimes at a higher rate than white people. That's a fact, you know? But there is something racist about saying, you know, well, why do we have so much social division? Well, I don't know, you know? You know, people might cancel me for this, but all you have to do is take a look at the black crime rate and maybe there's your problem, you know? Technically, they haven't framed anything there outside an acknowledgement of a descriptive fact, but it's very clear what the prescription is, and it's racist. So, we're getting back now to national income disparities, okay? The reasons why there are disparities are really, really complicated, but a really, really, really common thing that people will do is try to frame these differences as though there's something inherently better about wealthier parts of the world. So they'll talk about entrepreneurial spirit. They'll talk about, you know, business ingenuity. They'll talk about, you know, economic acumen, stuff like that. They'll talk about characteristics in which wealthier countries have ideologically, intellectually, or economically surpassed other parts of the world. The problem with this is that it's kind of cyclical. You know what I mean? Like, let's say there are two countries, country A and country B. Country A, 500 years ago, develops a robust military, invades country B, takes a significant portion of their population as war slaves, robs them of natural resources, and destroys their infrastructure. And then they go at peace, and they remain peaceful for a long time. Now, country A is going to have quite a head start on country B in terms of post-industrial development as a product of that little feud they had back in the past, right? That's imperialism 101. That's just a natural consequence of how causality works, right? But as a product of the greater wealth of country A might have developed better schools, better economists. And therefore, it's entirely possible that 50 years down the road from that, country A now is wealthier in large part due to the better business acumen of the people educated in country A. Now, some people might look at this and say, oh, well, if country B wanted to do well, maybe they should have more of a spirit for entrepreneurial investment. Maybe they should be more economically educated. And you know, that is descriptively true. If they had those things, they would be better off. But by framing it that way, you've implied the reason they don't have those things is because of some failing on their part, as opposed to just worse starting circumstances, you know? And that's the problem that I have with this question as to different countries having different levels of productivity. Because the way it's framed is this, well, why do people in China make so little money? It's because they're less productive. And descriptively, if you're taking a look at like the total economic output of the country or the per person output in a variety of industries, that can be true. But it does imply some things, doesn't it? A little bit? I mean, a little bit, right? Because you could fairly apply this to racial differences here in the US and point out correctly that black people, on average, are less productive than white people, even if you normalize total hours worked. But why do you think that is? Well, a huge part of that is because black people are poorer, which means that they're going to work in lower level industries and therefore have less of an economic impact on the country that they live in. And thus you have a cyclical issue. But if somebody just said, well, black people are poorer because they're less productive, that to me implies a prescriptive judgment, a moralistic justification for their economic circumstances. Does that make sense to everyone? Does everyone understand why I'm getting at this? I want to be very clear about this just to make sure there's no confusion, because I know my community sometimes, you know, they don't fully get what I'm getting at. There's nothing descriptively wrong about saying X country is less productive than America. But depending on how it's phrased, you know. Okay, just making sure. Vosh, the Asian tigers, they started from behind and were able to develop fairly quickly. I guess there were very few exceptions of these. It's totally possible. Rapid industrialization and like economic growth is possible. I think it's easier with a couple of things. First of all, it's easier when you're a small country because it means that you have a sort of tighter control over what's going on at your borders. America is a big country. I mean, wow, America is a big country, you know. Russia, huge country. But if you're South Korea down here, you know, or hell, you know, if you're Singapore, there we go, right there. I mean, you know, you have a bit more direct control over the direction that your country or city-state, you know, heads in. Taiwan as well. Yeah, that sort of thing. That's one. For two, it generally helps to have the backing of more powerful neighboring countries. Like, you don't want to be under threat of invasion, right? Obviously, South Korea, well, I wouldn't say South Korea benefited from our support because we basically put a dictator in charge over there and they had to oust him. But, you know, we're bad. Yeah, the Asian tigers were generally quite authoritarian, which did give them, you know, allowed them to supersede democratic considerations, which I suppose at times can have some advantages. It's complicated. The point is it can be done, but there are always consequences. What's been going on over here lately? I wonder. History is complicated. Wow. Real life lore is complicated? Oh yeah, for sure. All right, folks, hold on to your hats. We're not done quite yet. So wait, what did Taftaj get banned for? Holy shit, I'm not surprised. Taftaj, I could have warned you with this one. Yeah, when your bikini has under boob, I'm pretty sure Twitch is gonna bring the hammer down. What's wrong with that? I'm not making a moral argument. I'm talking about Twitch TOS here. Yeah. I've seen them banned for less, that's for sure. No, Godspeed. She get permaban? No, just for a day. They don't want to permaban a trans woman. Maybe I should be trans, just so Twitch won't ban me again. Why do you have a marshmallow stapled to your ear? It's a kink thing. Just a mo. You know, I expected that debate to go longer. Well, whatever. Hold on. All right. I had to cover this. I'm sorry. There was really no way around it. If you're pregnant or have heart conditions or are particularly susceptible to death by cringe, please don't watch any further. Some of you might know what some of you know what I'm talking about. All right. So there's this guy. Yep. There's this guy. We're about to be treated to a sneak peek. Yeah, I'll let him explain. Hold on. I don't want to watch this again. I genuinely don't. Should I just like let it play? I don't.
My name is Benny Johnson, and welcome to the world exclusive premiere of the Left Cant meme.
So this guy, our host, was a BuzzFeed writer who got fired for plagiarism. That's not a joke. I forget his name. Can I type it? Hold on.
Exclusive premiere. My name is Benny Johnson, and
is it Betty Johnson? Very bold name. Hold on. No, is it not Betty Johnson? I'm not getting anything like that. Betsy Johnson? Is it Betsy? There's no way his name is Betsy. Benny? Is it Benny? There we go. Yeah, gimme Benny Johnson. Woo! Chief Creative Officer. Keep that in mind as we watch this video. At Turning Point USA. First rose to prominence as a staff writer at BuzzFeed until he was fired following revelations that many of his published articles were plagiarized. So there you go. By the way, this guy is 34. I don't know. It just looks like he's aging prematurely. I don't know. Not 34-year-old vibes here. But maybe that'll keep the girls in the high school parking lot away from him. Maybe it's like a warning sign to them. His body's involuntarily, you know.
And welcome to the world exclusive premiere of the Left Cant meme. Ladies and gentlemen, an exclusive series on Parler. Parler, where free speech lives and is championed in the form of hilarious memes and content that we are going to be highlighting on our show. Now, many of the memes we will show you on today's episode would get you banned on social media. Why do a show on memes? Because the memes hurt their...
See, it says CNN potato mad at memes down there. I'm going to move myself to the top right. So so be careful, okay? This shit will get you banned off of social media. This will get you, this one right here, you will be banned from Twitter if you post this. They will ban you for racism.
Feelings. Our first edition meme review, the Left Cant meme. The memes of the week, very important. Musk memes, so hot right now. And the people at Twitter are like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Here's the libs being fired off like rockets. Very funny. Very.
Hold on, I'm sorry. So, just try to count how many times you get this lady in here. Okay? Try to, like, actually, can we keep a counter in chat? Like, I want you all to type out the number of times you see her, okay? Like, individually. So if you see 3 of her in one image, it's 2 already because there's 1 in the background. It's still in his background over there. She's just over there screaming. So, you know.
Very funny. Very good. Elon Musk planting screaming libs in the fields. Libs just want to date Elon Musk. Here's Elon just whipping people out of the temple that is Twitter. That's really good. Twitter's top lawyer reassures staff cries during meeting about Musk takeover. Elon Musk, the Netflix special. Elon.
This is the only one I like, unironically.
That's good. Very, very good. Always gonna be woke. El Donald. Make Twitter great again. Elon Musk as Donald Trump. Very good Photoshop.
I just want you guys to understand. You know how many people on the right were brought over by you know, like libs owned compilations? If I was conservative, this would make me kill myself in real life.
El Donald. Make Twitter great again. Elon Musk as Donald Trump. Very good Photoshop.
Right there. There's a response to this video on Twitter, which is something like, this is like a video for a dying 90-year-old, and I honestly feel like that's charitable. You know what I mean? Like, I know we say that they haven't moved out of 2014, but I genuinely feel like this is like 1914. Okay, like you would have to be cognitively geriatric. But no, it gets worse.
I'm moving to Canada. I'm removing my music from Spotify. I'm deleting my Twitter account. Yes, it's always the same thing. Triggered Rhapsody. Triggered Rhapsody. Very good. Queen reference. The triggered people screaming. Yes. The Re-Rocket. Yes, of course. Classic. The Re.
Classic, the re-rock. I want to like riff on this, but I don't really have anything to say. It's actually like shutting me down, you know? It actually, dude, you don't have to explain to me. I don't know why he's going over, like, this is all Elon Musk's dick riding, of course, but I don't know why they're going over this, you know? Like, wait, fuck, I think I just realized. Oh God, I think I just realized. Oh no. Oh, holy fuck. I think he made these. Or he contracted someone within TPUSA to make them. They're all the same type of meme. They all look like they were done by the same person. They all have the exact same completely, obviously, like, lack of humor, like, in the same way. I think this is a bid for attention from Elon. They want Elon to like quote tweet this and go like, oh my God, so funny. That's actually what this is. This is actually an effort to get attention. All of these were made by him or in-house or something. That has to be. That has to be it.
Where would the meme world be without the screaming lib at Donald Trump's inauguration?
I think I've seen this one out
without the screaming lib. We got to have the screaming lib.
We need to see the actual video as well. It wasn't enough to see her face maybe 40 or 50 times. We need to see the video again. They cannot live without this. They're like vampires, except it's this chick instead of blood.
Become of us. We need this meme. And it will live forever, by the way. These memes will never die. And the screaming lib meme will never die. One of the most important memes in the world. Re, and then the re as the chorus. And then Elon Musk swinging in the swing with them. Oh, man. The Left Can't Meme. Tune in every week. Your boy Benny will be memeing.
It will never die, I say as I electroshock it back to life. This isn't even electroshocking it back to life. This is like some full-on grave-robbing Frankenstein reconstitution right here. This is like sacrificing black goats at an altar to get it brought back from like Tartarus. Okay, there's some deeply unwell, yeah, meme necromancy going on here. Some truly eldritch bullshit. God, I can't. And like, you guys need to see this. But what am I supposed to say about it? You know, originally when I wanted to go over this, I was gonna like play along with it, like laughing really hard at every meme. But I don't even think I can act well enough to do that. It actually. I don't think I could maintain that kayfabe or kayfabe or however it's pronounced, because it would hurt like a lot, really. There is something deeply. Have you guys heard me ramble before about how conservatives have killed comedy? Because look, using comedy as a delivery mechanism for politics, totally fine. Totally fine. Totally cool. I do it. A lot of people do it. That's totally fine, you know. The problem is, like, that's a fine thing if the politics are good and the comedy is good, you know? Nobody likes hearing bad stand-up being done to soapbox a political issue. And I feel like so often conservatives will lie about something being comedy in order to get away with the implications of its, like, political messaging, you know? Like, they'll make a racist joke, and it's, oh, you know, it's a joke, so it's not a big deal. But, like, they believe that, you know? You see that all the time on 4chan. It's very, very, very common. Steven Crowder has built a whole career off of it. But then you've stuff like this guy, and I think this, I think this goes beyond, and it makes me feel like anyone who enjoys this unironically is suffering from some kind of mental illness. And I'm not joking when I say that, you know, because it's not just that the triggered lib meme is beyond overplayed. It's that it appears in every meme in this video, except for that Black Elon Netflix meme. It appears in every one of them. Yeah, 65 times, according to one enterprising chatter. And if you can laugh at that within the space of 2 minutes and 30 seconds, that many times, like if it maintains its interest to you, you know, I think your sense for comedy is just completely broken at that point. Honest to God, I think you're dead. I think you're dead right there. Because there's no way your sense of enjoyment is being motivated by anything other than, I don't know. It just depresses me. Have you seen the AOC is stupid articles in the Babylon Bee? Oh, well, this is the only good Babylon Bee article right here. This is the only good one they've ever done. Dumb AOC accidentally strangles herself tying her shoes because she is so stupid. This is the only good Babylon Bee they've ever done, because they're making fun of themselves here, or you know, at least it reads that way. You know, it's hard to divine their intent, but I like it. They actually made a good one today about how more aid goes to Ukraine than babies. That's dumb as fuck. There's no relationship at all between the money we give to Ukraine and the money we put to task domestically. When people do this shit where they're like, you know, how can you spend money on this when we have this other problem going? We're America, we have infinite money, we can spend money on whatever we want. If we hadn't spent money on Ukraine, it's not like that money would have gone to the baby food or whatever. Like, there's no relationship at all between these things, you know. They act like it's some zero-sum game. We print the money, bitch. You know, if there's a crisis, we have the money for it. We will always have the money. It's just a matter of how much we want to deal with inflation afterwards. And 40 billion is not, that's a drop in the bucket when it comes to inflation. Barely even a drop, you know. Ethan challenged Hassan on leftovers on his Ukraine stance. You should react to it. I don't want to deal with Hassan, man. Oh wait, here's the second good Babylon Bee joke ever, and this is from yesterday. I love this. This is very good. Fake account? Is it? Wait, is it a fake account? No! I saw it on my feed before and I thought it was real. No! I didn't check. I just thought it was a self-parodying joke. Damn. It says parody in the bio. I didn't look at the bio. I just saw the tweet. All right. Triggered lib Vosh. No. I can't open my mouth as wide as that. The triggered lib can. People make fun of her when she's like the glizzy gulper, you know? The true throat goat, yeah. You have so many soy gifts, you absolutely can. I don't open my mouth that big. Don't stroke your cock while saying that, pro tip. What the fuck, Jesus Christ! I was fucking moving my short leg an inch further down because it's like ridden up to my goddamn ass cheek right now. Jesus. So many of my masturbatory fantasies are in fact to the triggered lib and to Big Red. It is known. Can we stop? Can we? Do you have a short leg? No, I have short shorts. All of you have seen like midway up my thigh whenever I stand up. How old is that photo? Like 2016. Isn't Big Red actually based or something? The shit that she said in that video was fine. She came off as a bit like bitchy, but all the guys around her were like hollering monkeys. She just came off like angry, but like everyone around her was acting like an asshole. So like, okay, whatever. Yeah, she's fine. Benny Johnson has his own Newsmax show, and it's more deranged than you could imagine. Man, I wish I was a conservative so I could fail upward. Wait, is this real? People just hate admitting you can be emotional and have a point. Well, if you're a misogynist, a woman getting angry is all you need to discredit her. All right. What's going on? This is our man. I'm the Joker, baby. Not even the right Joker in Batman. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Here, let me pee. And you know what? Honestly, I'm a little tired. Let's just talk like legit Q&A. I'll read donos, you know. Just normal, whatever. Yeah. Let me just pee. See, you can even when I just stand up, it's like they're short shorts, you know? I got one of those dry fire systems today. Nice try, Jazz Dog. For rootin' and tootin'. I'm happy to hear that, Lord Heavyside. Would I ever date somebody that I met on Craigslist? I mean, if a person's cool, I'll date a person off of any platform that I met them in, but I don't know what would have to happen for me to like get to know someone who I met off Craigslist, you know? Have you defeated Sin in Dark Souls 2? Yes. It was a good fight. Adam YMS was in YouTube chat a little while ago. Adam! Why didn't you tell me Adam was here? What the fuck? I was watching Adam's videos just earlier today. Honestly, I would be embarrassed to tell him to his face just how often I go back and rewatch his videos. Oh my god! Jesus Christ! Anti-Convo Man, thank you so much for the $200 donation. I really, really appreciate that. Jesus Christ. Won money, yay, here's some for you. Just won the lottery? Okay, sure, fuck it. Yeah, why not? Lucky fan base, folks. Lucky fan base. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Save plenty for retirement. Oh, wait, YMS is still in chat. I got Brovid? No! Adam! Adam, I'm sorry. That fucking sucks. I'm sorry. Adam has been getting fucked lately. Adam got like a carpal tunnel in both wrists and then got leg hurting juice. I don't know the name of the condition. And now he's got COVID. That fucking sucks. Well, at least Lion King Part 1 came out. At least it happened after that. Will I ever buy a 50 cal? If yes, then which? I don't feel I need an anti-materiel rifle in my house, you know. Oh, it was tendinitis, not carpal tunnel? Okay, tendinitis. Tendinitis and sciatica. Sciatica. Yeah. They're badass, though. Where would I even fire a 50 cal? It's not like the range is going to let me. Sciatica? Sciatica. What's your response to sociology isn't a real science? If sociology isn't a real science, then neither is... First of all, what is a real science? Second of all, law and economics. You know, like you can derive that pretty far. 50 cal for home defense, of course. Ah, yes, in case the intruder is getting away and there's 3 walls and a car in between you and them, of course. Fuck, my hands are dusty. Hold on. Let me just Of course I washed my hands after I used the restroom. I just I want to do it again. How is law a science? Law is derivative of social science. And laws are created and interpreted in line with legal theory. And legal theory is really, really, really similar to sociological theory. It covers different areas, but in terms of the analytic and interpretive abilities you need to function in those fields, modern law usually comes from poli-sci. And poli-sci and sociology are very similar. You know the Red Scare chicks, and if so, would you ever debate them? All I know is that they're like bitchy sociopaths who pretend to be leftists. But I don't think they do debates. I mean, what would we even debate on? Nail polish. I could debate them on nail polish. They're just trad cats who quote Foucault. Yeah. I love it. I love it when women pretend to be left-leaning when all they want is like a country with healthcare to so they don't have to rack up massive hospital bills when they're getting pregnant for the 8th time, so they can go back to being barefoot to serving their husband. Is Shu still here? At least Shu also wants healthcare for other people. Do you have tips for telling if an election in a developing country is rigged? Yes. If a conservative wins, it was. If a leftist wins, it wasn't. Bazinga. 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 M68 Ken, thank you so much for the $50. I really, really appreciate that. Jesus. Been playing with some C++ codes tonight. Any Voshite programmers in the chat? My audience is half trans girls. There are plenty of programmers in my chat. Thank you so much for the 50. I really, really appreciate that. Oh, I just wanted to say, I said that I got a dry fire system. So, one of the things that you do to practice with a gun is you dry fire. Like you cock, fire, you know. And with no bullet in. Like you do it at home. There are two systems. A laser and like a motion sensor. And I got the motion sensor. And basically what it is it determines how much, but you put it on the under rail of your pistol, and it determines how much your hand wavers when you pull the trigger, and it determines accuracy based on this. Aren't guns always loaded? Excuse me. And it goes without saying, of course, if you're dry firing a firearm, please look into it to make sure that it's not loaded, blah, blah, blah. I might also get a laser system and see which one I like more. Donate more to ensure that I can get more useless gun paraphernalia. Fuck. Wait. I also need a dry fire mag so I can repeat fire over and over. Okay, here's the thing. Here's what's fucking me up, guys. Okay? This is a dry fire mag. The basic goal is that it allows you to continue firing your semi-automatic over and over without needing to recock it every time. Because normally you have to recock it every time if there's no bullet in the you know, if it's empty, you have to recock it, you know. But in the compatible firearms, look at this bullshit, okay? Look, this is all for the P320, which I own. P320, C, Carry F, RX, RXP, X Series, X5 Legion, AXP, AXG Pro, P320, WCG 320, and M17 and M18. But I don't have any of these. I have the P320 AXG Classic. So will it fit? How many P320 types can there be? I think it will. Click here to check if this fits your firearm. Hold on. Okay. All right. Hold on. Not a gun expert. Let me see. Hair is devolved. I'll get a haircut eventually, okay? Hair looks nice. Thank you. P96, check your FCU to... Wait, I have to disassemble it? I don't want to disassemble it. Show gun. It's a nice gun. You probably need to clean it anyway. Yeah, probably. Now pointed at us. Bang. Why is your hand shivering? Because I hit it. I fucking hit my middle finger. In between two of the gun cases when I was lifting this up one from the other one. It still hurts a lot. Okay, come on. You have the new Sear housing. Do I have a P9? Okay, I can Google this. Hold on. Sig Sauer P320 AXG Classic. Upgraded fire control unit. That's what we're looking for. Upgraded fire control unit. No, I don't want a new part. I want to... Okay, if I just look at the page for the original gun, does it brag about there being an upgraded fire control unit? It's just such a pretty gun. I just... Okay, right here. Grip model foundation, pre-motion performance. Custom work is a XG metal grip, extended beaver tail, short reach trigger, SIG Pro Series removable optics plate, day-night front plate, custom marks. It doesn't specifically say. Chat, just bear with me for a second. I just need to get the damn thing so it'll work properly. Sear housing. Sear group assembly. It needs to have this black metal piece go down in front of the... Oh, I know what I can do. I can just look up a replacement part, right? A replacement part will show the area that I'm supposed to be looking for this type gun. It'll probably just be easier to take the slide off at this point. Chat, this wasn't the stream you wanted, but it's the stream you're going to get. Where's my hex key set? Where is it? It needs cleaning anyway. Hold on. Where is it? I don't know where it could possibly be. There's only one room in the house where I keep my guns. It's not a small kit either. I found it. The XG Classic fits the newer version of the mags. Does it? You don't need a hex key to remove the slide. It should be a takedown lever. The hex key is right here. Takedown lever. Not another gun lock subway. All right, you can tell who the Europeans are in chat. Jesus. If you say it'll work, then I'll go ahead and buy it, okay? God. Goddamn babies. All right. Would I take a shit for $5 billion? Never. Just return it if it doesn't work? No. Maybe. I believe this is a bicontinental issue. Oh, you babies. Let me buy it. A dry fire mag. It really does sound like a sex joke, doesn't it? This is for Glocks. No. Please let me a barber cut your hair. Never. What is an over-travel stop? I'm not even familiar with this gun term. I'll finish the rest of this later. Okay, chat. Andara Blended Harbor, thank you for the tier 1 subs. I appreciate that. Consume Prelosec, thank you likewise. Lockpicking lawyer segment when, sweetie? Probably not anytime soon. Captain Gwendolyn and Huey Longfan, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Any plans to start a co-op, and if so, what would you start? I'm a YouTuber. I'm not going to go ahead and just start a random co-op. You know, my merch, which you can all find off my site, thank you, is handled by the White Forest Co-op, which was started directly adjacent to me. So that's cool. Would I ever debate Alt Hype or Sean Last? I'm trying to remember who these people are. Oh god, what? Alt Hype, Alternative Hypothesis. Oh no, these retards. No. Sean Last lives to make everything about Israel, and it's just fucking boring. And Alt-Hype's takedown video on me was so bad that he ended up getting taken down by other Nazis. Yeah, no. I hate, listen, as you can see, like, demonstrated, also, he wouldn't debate me. As you can see demonstrated by, the behavior of What If Alt History, I really hate pseudo-intellectuals during a debate. Because it's always the same playbook time and time again. They'll say some patently ridiculous, self-contradictory bullshit. And then when they get real mad when you call them out in it, and then they're just, how many books have you read? Yeah, it's just, V-Raptor with the 2 gifted 2 subs. What if Alt-Hist believes the Black Book of Communism is factual, downplays the death toll of fascism, and that the Ottomans could have survived without World War I? Yeah, he's probably like fashion consequence, even if he's not aware of it. I don't think he's like a dumb guy or whatever. I just think that What If Alt History has the biggest case of, what's it called? When you're overconfident, but the like fancy pants term. Dunning-Kruger? Dunning-Kruger, yeah. I think he's the picture book for that. Sake, the 2 gifted 2 subs. Can we get the Oblivion NPC music for that debate on YouTube? Yeah, seriously. Fuck. God. Come from Penguin, the gifted 2 sub. When you tweet those sources of What If Alt Hist, just send clips of you beating boss at soul level 1. Here are my sources. Me beating Malekith soul level 1. Dunning-Kruger is fake, apparently, though. You know what is real? Autism. SDL looking at you. The effect of people of ordinary intelligence who overestimate their ability based on a small amount of information is a real thing. We have info here. Nah, SDL earns it. He drops in here, no social. He never socializes with me. He comes in here exclusively to tell me when I'm wrong. That's the only thing I could be as mean as I wanted to him, and it would not be wrong morally. I do respect it though. I do respect it. Yeah, no, it's a good bit. I'm not gonna. Yeah. Irish Soak and Trans Femcell, thank you for the $5 both. Yes, Irish Soak, I agree completely. And yes, Trans Femcell, for sure. I See Dead Llamas, thank you for the $5. True. Soviet Ball, thank you for the very kind $10. You need to give him more credit. He hasn't just learned tidbits that supported his worldview. He has probably also learned info from flavor text and paradox games. True. Very, very true. Tyler and Lava Monster, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. I really appreciate that. As an academic, no person confident in their ability to defend their positions does a million constant citation name drops like that. Yeah, it's like gigacope. Yeah, it's a pretty common thing. Birchleaf and Leafar, thank you for the $5 both. We do need a Gish Galloping emote. Maybe for Gish Galloping, you should just use the Vorse emote, because like it's literally galloping. Like that's kind of a fun double use for an emote, right? I think that's fair. Well, yeah, like we ride. Yeah, no, I think that's good. Yeah, the people, the Luna coin or whatever, think they're gonna earn their money back. I mean, maybe they will. You know, I don't know. We'll see. Blob Goblin and Neandroid, thank you for the tier 2 subs. I really appreciate that. All right, in a year more, Neandroid, that's a tier 3 sub. Gotta hold true. Tech Noir, Jack Rabbit, and Matt from PVD, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. Oh, I get it. Whatifalthist has a condition that rhymes with bombarded. Thank you. Love the new haircut. Thanks. It's not really a new haircut. We need a newer haircut. There we go, STL. Now you're getting it. You know, I make fun of STL, but like, as a person who actually is autistic, as opposed to simply a person who's 99.99% guaranteed to be autistic, you know, the whole you have to engage in social niceties before offering your thoughts on somebody is not something that I like got from the get-go. You know what I mean? Like it took me a while to realize that most people like take offense at just like saying something at them, you know? Not to say that I do with STL, because I know STL. I like STL, but you know, as a general, you know. Also, you just don't read the studies post. No, I read the shit STL posts. He has a talent for synthesizing information which surpasses mine. He is better at that than me. You know, I know my limits. I tell you guys, okay, half of being intelligent is just knowing when to defer to other people, okay? This is the case in every field, everything, all thinking. You'll be that much better if you just know when to defer to other people. There's no shame in doing that. Nobody can know everything. Robo Dragon, Albatross, and Marsquake, thank you for the tier 1 subs all. Really appreciate that. Macnovist Roman, Soli, Chucky, and Bentley the Human, thank you likewise. What kindness from y'all. We're almost caught up on donos. Right, Lava Monster. You know what I think? I just think we wouldn't have to deal with any of this bullshit with, oh, this gun does this or this gun does that, you know? We wouldn't have to bother with any of that if we all just used revolvers like God intended. You know how easy it is to clean a revolver? You know how many jams you get using a revolver? Return to tradition. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Zombie Mantis. It's very helpful. Revolver? Wait, is it revolver? Sorry, revolver. I've always got pussy on the mind. Revolver. Revolvers can have tons of shit going wrong with them. There are things that can go wrong, but they're simple and reliable for the most part. Revolvers have bad recoil. Oh, I saw 357 next. I have a 357 revolver. I actually, what was I going to say? Oh, I saw an interesting YouTube video that talked about the reason why during the Civil War they didn't use revolver rifles, you know? Like they would use single shot rifles. I don't know how to find the YouTube video. It wasn't on my feed, like my regular YouTube history. They explode. Yeah, basically the gist of it is that back then... Yeah, ammo cost? No. It was way scarier than that. It was way scarier than that. So basically back then, even with revolvers, there would be... You'd have the little, like, lead ball, and you'd have, like, the powder cap. And what would happen often... Yeah, people in chat know, is that with revolvers, when you would fire, like a six-shooter, you know, some of the gunpowder would kind of trickle out around the shot, and there would be a chain explosion where gunpowder would light in all 6 cylinders, and it would fire all of them at once, you know. One of them through the barrel, and the rest of them just out, like, through the cylinder, like, you know, and it would, like, destroy the gun and stuff. And that was just the thing that happened back then with revolvers. Now, that's fine if you're firing a one-handed gun where your hand is behind the cylinder. But if it was a big old rifle, your left hand is up in front of where the cylinder would be, meaning that it would essentially just dissolve your left hand and kill you, because it would just shred your arm and you'd bleed out. And that's why they didn't do it. Dangerous. Did you see the new black hole image? Yeah, I did. Oh yeah, the lampshade. Always interesting to see. Was this the video? No, this wasn't it. Here, maybe it is in my history. I have a memory of watching it on another thing. Let me see if I can find it. Because it was interesting and spooky sounding. Very spooky. Not good. Not good. Maybe I can't find it. Oh, it was actually a YouTube short.
In the American Civil War, why wasn't revolver technology used in rifles? Well, my friend, that's just it. It was. The thing that you can see behind me here is the Colt Model 1855 cap and ball revolving rifle, which just the sheer aesthetic of it is just, it looks so good.
It
But
does
the
look
unfortunate
nice.
reality was that this thing was a goddamn death trap. You see, by this point in history, cap and ball revolvers were effectively standard. And you're right, being able to fire multiple shots rapidly is a great advantage for a weapon. So the thought with this weapon was to take the revolver and just elongate it, turn it into a rifle. But here is where it became a death trap. You see, cap and ball technology was used before you had cartridges. So in order to load the weapon, you needed to use a percussion cap, gunpowder, and an actual ball, hence the cap and ball. The problem was that some of the gunpowder might be loose and then around the cylinder of the gun. This could cause a weapon to experience chain fire in which all rounds would be fired at once, and if your hand is up here when the rifle experiences chain fire, that is going to rip you apart. In the American Civil War, why was...
So yeah, that'd be bad. Sorry, just a little interesting, interesting bit there. Leaf Art, the $5, thank you. Under the Thunder with the $20. As a fan of your political content and Whatifalthist's pre-1900s alternative history content, it's cool to see you two talk, even confrontationally. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Again, I really did not go into the conversation with Whatifalthist with any intention of being, like, rude. And I don't think I came across as rude either, you know? Well, I don't think I did, you know? I try not to. It's just... he established very early on he would gish gallop, but he wouldn't even stop talking. Like, if I tried to, like, get in, you know? And it's true that I am trying to interrupt him when I try to get in and he just keeps talking. But I think it's okay to attempt to interrupt somebody if they're going off on some unrelated tangent. I think that's okay, you know? Whenever, like, even when I talk for a long time, if I, like, talk for an extended length of time, I focus it on the subject that we're on. But every time he would go off, it'd be like some totally other thing, and he would load every sentence with so many preconceptions, you know? That's good. Not a criticism, just a question. Why not have a moderator to reel them in? Because in my experience, like moderators are basically just there to like make sure nobody screams the other person's docs out loud. You know, if I want a moderator, the moderator I want is somebody who keeps everyone on topic and fact checks, or at the very least, like tries to give everyone like a pointed like bit by bit. You know, in my experience, moderators almost always just let like the civil person rant infinitely. No, not Dylan. No, guys, not Dylan. No, Dylan's premier debate moderation stuff is him just trying to keep a panel of 8 people from like tearing each other to pieces. That is not the same as what I'm talking about. James barely talks at all. You guys are just naming moderators that you like. No, you understand what I mean. Leafar and Llamas, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Ufix, thank you for the tier 2 sub. I really appreciate that as well. 69 Danger Noodles, thank you for the $5. Yes, Rhode Island is going to be legalizing weed, it seems. Mandating 25% of stores to be worker co-ops? Stores. I assume you mean dispensaries? No way 25% of all stores in the state. I'll look into it. Transfemcell with the $5. Don't remember if this was asked before. Will you see the iDubbbz boxing match? I mean, I don't know what format it'll be shown through, but I'd be happy to watch it. I don't really have a strong attachment to any of the beefs that are being played up. It's like $30 to watch. Probably not then. I don't care that much. Mortaray, thanks to $5. Want to watch an Elden Ring Fever Dream review video? Probably not. I appreciate the offer and the dono, though. All right. We caught up on donos. Look at that. Now I just want to do the revolver spinny. Revolver. Sorry. Do you use snap caps when you dry fire? Don't worry, I've checked. The firearms that I own are safe to fire without dry fire. And I would never dry fire a 22 LR. Because, like, what am I practicing for? Being menaced by a paper target? No, I would never play Spore. What do you think about people who concealed carry whoever they go? I do not have a problem with concealed carry at all. I'm not familiar with any data on it increasing the likelihood of people getting hurt. It's probable that it does to an extent. I do think that people have a right to keep weapons on them if they want. My issue is mostly with open carry, because open carry exists basically for 2 reasons: protests and terrifying civilians. And 99% of the time, it's the latter. You know, that shit really bugs me. Like, when people open carry into a fucking Walmart, like, fuck off. Like, fuck off forever. What the fuck are you doing? You're gonna walk around with an AR-15 slung around your shoulder while you're, like, picking up baby food? What the fuck are you doing? Fuck off. Jesus. Not to mention, by the way, like, open carrying just casually, especially with a rifle slung over you, doesn't that increase the likelihood of you being... Like, if somebody in there wanted to cause violence, and it was, like, slung over you, I feel like they could just tackle you and now they have a gun, you know? Like, at least if it's a pistol in a holster, you know, it's virtually impossible for somebody else to wrench it off from you, but if it's like a rifle... Yeah, no, it's super fucked. 25% of recreational dispensaries have to be worker-owned, and 25% have to go to social equity applicants. That's cool. I like that a lot. Good funny vibes. Here, let me see. Oh, I saw this. The, I paid off your student loans to my dick. Yeah, I saw that. It's a good meme. Maybe Big Pooh Bus. Probably. I still need to finish my Furio run. There's so much shit that I have to stream. Favorite One Piece arc? Impel Down. Hold on. The Rhode Island shit's super based. Here's the What If Alt history community. What are your thoughts? Debate? Complete and utter shit show, like expected. Never really had an opinion about Vosh prior. He seemed like an annoying little twat who kept interrupting. And whenever What If Alt history tried to interject, he'd scream, "Why were you interrupting me?" Fair enough, but at the same time, Rudyard kept going at tangents that really clarify. They both seemed kind of up there about themselves, kind of asshole-ish. Embarrassing for Rudyard Harris. Actually, this is less circle jerky than I expected. There are people in here who are pushing back. It was both them yelling for stupid shit for like an hour and 45 minutes. No, it was 45 minutes. Right? Because the debate was supposed to start at 5. We started 15 minutes late because he was having technical issues, and they left right on the hour. It was 45 minutes, yeah. That's one of the shortest debates I've ever had. I was kind of expecting it to go on for a while. Huh. Did he really just BS the entire thing? Dude, I just think he's got a really fragile ego. My biggest problem with concealed carry is that you can't carry sword sheathed or unsheathed at all, open or concealed. Inconsistency. Yeah. I unironically think... Yeah, I don't know. I like legit. I'm pretty sure that like in the right circumstances, a person with a sword could be about as dangerous as a person with a gun in like a crowded area or some shit. With with a gun, like, you know, you're limited to your ammunition and you know there's a potential for disarming you. But if you've got a fucking sword, dude, I don't know. Dude, can you imagine a guy who spends like 10 years training and then like has their Joker moment and they decide to do like their version of the mass shooting? They go into like a nightclub with a fucking katana. Oh my fucking god. Can you imagine being in a nightclub and there's somebody with a katana? You wouldn't even know. Like 20 people would be dead before anyone would even know because there'd just be people falling down. There wouldn't even be gunshots. Oh fuck, that'd be super scary actually. Holy shit. God damn. Anime brain? Well, I mean, you can kill people with swords. You know, it's true that happens in anime, but I think I think that happened in real life too. 100% already happened? Did it really? Someone in Finland used a bow and killed 5 people? That is so Finnish. Mass stabbings have been really fucked in Japan. Yeah. Vosh, do you have a sword? No, I don't have a sword. Especially if you have Moonveil. Yeah. You literally just have to parry or dodge. Trying to roll up on a nightclub with the katana, getting ready to end everything. Little do you know that the guy closest to the exit door beat Elden Ring Soul Level 1. You know, he's just got like there's just like a loose like wooden board that he picks up and effortlessly parries every hit. How fucking... Oh no, he's got like a Keistis or Cestus or whatever, however the fuck that's pronounced, you know? Like you see some totally unarmed guy, you're about to begin your killing spree, you know, you get your sword out, you swing, and he rolls through the sword. Iframes carry him right through. You swing a second time and he bats it off with your left hand. And the sheer audacity of his move, you know, you just reel for like 2 seconds. And he tears your heart out or something. Whatever the unhanded, visceral attack is. Not unhanded, unarmed. Gamer moment. I'd love to watch you do a fist weapon run, though. Oh, that'd be easy compared to Soul Level 1. For sure. He gets attacked by one of those mall ninjas with one of those tactical gladius machetes. People really overstate all that stuff for self-defense. I'm pretty sure that, like, if we're talking self-defense with, like, a melee weapon or whatever, a baseball bat is way, more effective than a knife on average because of reach. Like, that's the only reason, because of reach and momentum, you know? Yeah, well, it's a club. I mean, a baseball bat is just a club, basically. Aluminum would be worse than wooden, because wooden ones are heavier, I think. But, like, either or, right? You know? Yeah. How do you do SO1 runs without wanting to Roblox yourself? Well, I've almost done all of them. I've almost beaten SO1 in Dark Souls 1, 2, and Elden Ring, and I've beaten it in Dark Souls 3. I did that years ago, so I like it. One issue, though, like someone earlier in chat said, once you beat one of these games Soul Level 1, the game normally just feels way too easy. I really wish there was a difficulty slider. You know what I mean? I know you can go like New Game Plus or whatever, but yeah. You can. Will you do a Bloodborne SL1 as well? Not till they port it to PC. Not doing that shit 30 FPS. What do you think of the Crab Souls-like in the Nintendo Direct? Dude, I love this studio. You guys would like them. I think, at least a lot of you would. I'm a big fan of this studio. They, Aggro Crab, they made, Going Under, which was a really cool anti-capitalist, like, brawler game. Look at this. Shouldn't be copyright because it's a game soundtrack. Incredible. Incredible. Yeah, we gotta do a Shell level 1 playthrough. So good. Okay, Vermin, why are you just, like, linking random TikTok videos? What is this? What? Is this a prank video? I don't watch prank videos.
So you're really doing this, huh?
Look at Mom.
Anthony, you drilled a bear to your ceiling.
What does it even fucking mean? What does that even mean? Why is there a fucking bear on my ceiling, Anthony? Maria, stop filming! You guys, you... Gordy! Do you fucking see this?
That's Boris. That's Boris, baby. That's a beautiful black
shut
bear.
the fuck up! Take him down!
Why are you yelling at me?
Because Anthony does this weird shit and
Well,
you
it's gotta
promote
come
it.
down. It's gonna give me nightmares
All right,
anyway.
that's enough, you asshole!
All right. It's all acting. It's completely scripted for sure. Yeah. Show them going under. It's from the dude who did the OF thing. Okay, yeah. I mean, I can kind of recognize this hot bod. Show them going under. Yeah. Okay, guys. Remember how I've said before that I really want the game industry to focus. Like, I want there to be more studios making more games with simpler graphics, implementing better ideas. There are so many great ideas that developers have that just don't get put into action because it's like, oh, you want to make a game on this? That's like a $10 million project or whatever. And one of the things that I really like, Going Under is a satire of startup work culture where you're fighting against demons that have spawned from previous failed startups. And it's cutesy and I like the characters and look at the cute art. But it's a brawler. Like, you go through level by level, and it's like,
there's a car there.
you know,
Hang on. I can
beep,
get in
beep.
the car. This is my
like you
preferred
throw
mode of travel
weapons and beat them
you
with
can
it,
take the
little
car with you.
goblins.
I love it.
Except they're
Avocado
called
toast,
joblins
delicious
because they've got
alternative to
jobs.
home ownership. I have no plans to own a home. I just love that toast too much. I gotta do better at staying alive. That's not a good job staying alive. I gotta watch out for the bean bombs.
It's a nice game. I like this game. It's also pretty tough. That all achievements, I never got it. You know, normally I can get all achievements when I like a game, but yeah. It's a tough game. Wow. Yeah, Voosh behind counter. The dating app levels are so fun. Yeah, there's a startup area. There's a startup area that's like a Tinder themed. So there's like hot devils there. And there's like peach and eggplant emojis. And waifu pillows, yeah. Do you like Castle Crashers? Not really, actually. Okay, stop. Under the Thunder with $5. Don't try to apologize to me. I was disappointed by the convo, but you did better than him. You could have done some things better, but you did well overall. Yeah, well, the problem, excuse me. The problem that I had with the conversation was that it felt like there was no way to talk about anything. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's like, even if there's a subject you want to talk about and you really want to hone in on it, like, I felt like I never got the chance to just talk about a subject with him. So I'm kind of limited. I feel like I'm just trying to like flag him down to like to get on a point, you know? Yeah. Sake with the $10. Spent 20 years of my life training to properly use swords. Can't even carry one sheathed in a case on my back legally. You can carry one in a car, probably. S save point, $10. Oh God, why am I getting a cough now? Not again. Just graduated college after 5 years. Commuting between 2 colleges. Finally have my degree in entertainment arts animation, CCS Michigan. Congratulations on getting your degree. That is fantastic. And Danny Fire with the $10. Please take a look at this page. It describes what if alt history's ideology. There is also one of you, by the way. I think that your thing cut off here. This is the Pull Comp Ball wiki for conservatee. Do you mean conservative? No. Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm a little bit tired. I think I'm going to head off. Also, I didn't have anything prepared to talk about. However, tomorrow, I know, I'm very lazy. I have to clean my guns. And find my gun assembly kit. Tomorrow, we're not doing an early stream because tomorrow I am hosting the Hippy Dippy debate panel. Dylan will be there as a participant, not as a host. I am hosting it. So we'll have that. I don't know why I agreed to that. What time? It's at 5 p.m. tomorrow. Are the topics announced? Yes, but I forget them. Anyway, if you want to support me doing that, let me see who's live right now. A lot of people. Let's go down the list. Live. You know, how about Nico Suris? It's been a little while, hasn't it? Nikoni. Everyone be nice to Suris, who's never been anything but nice to me. I love you all very much. You're beautiful people. I'm sorry about the short stream. I expected the debate to go longer. I have like a plan in my head, you know? Like, I'll do this thing, and then I'll do this thing, and then I'm done. But if things don't adhere to that, just call it an autism thing. You know, whatever. I'll stream tomorrow. Be well. I'll see you soon.